Well, if it is our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
All right. I hear you. This is the worst. Isn't this just the worst?
There's probably worse elsewhere.
No, I doubt it.
Those first few minutes back to work. I mean, we can all be honest, right? Those first few minutes back to work. It's the worst feeling. But then you get over it, and along the way, you get a couple of things done. That's all I mean by that. It's at first, it's just terrible. Good morning to everyone, and welcome to the program. 93X Half-Assed Morning Show is what you've dialed into here. You doing all right, Josh?
Pretty good. How about you? Better than you, it sounds like, but pretty good.
I'm all right now, because we got past those first few minutes. I talked to some people this past Friday night who like you quite a bit, Josh.
That's nice to hear.
They think you're cute. They think you're funny.
Now I'm embarrassed.
He's blushing.
That's very kind of them to say.
Yeah. I had a few people pull me aside Friday.
What were you doing Friday?
Cooking chicken for the elderly.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. A couple people pulled me. These weren't elderly people. They're in their right minds, these people who said nice things about you.
Any babes?
No babes. Strictly dudes.
What is it on a typical Friday night there at the Legion? Do babes show up Friday, Saturday nights?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh. That wasn't very convincing.
Oh, yeah. Man, it's crawling. The place is crawling with foxy ladies.
I should have known better because when that happens, people bring it up, right? Oh, like the new blood shows up. Wow, we weren't expecting that. Who brought that person? That kind of thing.
You should see it when a fresh, new face, foxy lady walks in.
A lot of attention?
Oh. No, but just wanted to throw that your way. I was horsing around there at the bar, and a couple guys just started a conversation, and they said, by damn, that Josh.
Well,
and I couldn't
appreciate it.
Couldn't argue with them. But if you want to talk about babes, we can do that. And you mentioned how the crowd reacts, at a bar full of regulars. At a bar full of regulars, night in, night out. Especially when a foxy lady walks in and she has not been seen before. Oh, there's a lot of heads turning. And
yeah, that's a big deal.
so it's front page friggin' news, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And a place full of regulars, absolutely.
Also,
is there attention paid to anybody who comes in, or is it just kind of more geared towards somebody who looks pretty attractive?
certainly towards someone who's very attractive.
Like in the movies where somebody walks into a bar full of regulars, everybody stops talking and turns their heads.
It's not that dramatic.
Not like that.
Not that dramatic. If you look unusual for that bar's setting, or if you're really attractive, you're going to be noticed. All the regulars are going to wonder, okay, who is this? All right. Also, that foxy lady, if she's with a man, he is instantly judged as the biggest douchebag of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Even if this guy comes in buying drinks and he's just the most happy-go-lucky character, even if on the surface, obviously, he is not a douchebag, if he's with the foxy lady, this guy instantly sucks and we want him out of there.
All right, I got to draw you into a conversation then. I was talking to somebody recently who said, it's really not fair to women because women are always judged when you see a couple. People always say, oh, that woman is this or that. I'm like, well, wait a minute here. I think it's kind of the opposite. I mean, maybe just my perspective as a guy. I mean, guys are judged. It's like, how the hell did that guy land her? And then they try to come up with any excuse outside of he has a decent personality. He's got money. He's hung. I mean, those are the things you hear.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely just because you're a guy. Because when I'm with like a group of women, we don't care about the guy at all. We talk about the woman.
So that must be it, right? She's hearing from women. We're hearing from other dudes. But just so you know, if it makes you feel any better, that is absolutely equal opportunity right there. Guys are getting it constantly.
That's funny.
Yeah. He must have money.
Yeah, it's never that he might be a good guy.
Oh, here's one I've heard before. Again, foxy lady walks into a bar full of regulars with a guy. You might hear one or two guys say this. It's brilliant. She's a prostitute.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
There's no way that guy could legitimately go on a date with this woman. She's a prostitute. So, I mean, I've had situations. I've got good buddies who are instantly so jealous that this guy, a.k.a. the douchebag, right? He's instantly a douchebag. I've had buddies who are so instantly jealous and cannot contain themselves at the sight of this foxy lady with this guy. They'll spend all night. Look at this friggin' guy. Look at him. Look at that guy. What's he drinking? What is that? They judge every move he makes. Look at him. Look at this guy. Total jack-off, right? To the point where I say, okay, stud, if you're so much better than that guy, go up there, talk to her. Mm-hmm. I'm not going up there. So it's just a silly game. And then, okay, and to close out this little subject, if foxy lady becomes a regular and her man also becomes a regular, this is what I've noticed from the longtime regulars. That dude better not make one mistake. If they have a little argument at the bar, as soon as he goes to take a piss, those dudes will walk over. I don't know what you're doing with that guy. He better be on his best behavior 24/7, or as soon as he leaves, all the regular dudes will talk about how that guy's a dick, he doesn't deserve her, as if they're so tuned into the relationship, right? Like you have any business commenting on their relationship. It's fun to watch.
I've been in that position where I was treated poorly both of them were at high school reunions. And it was from people who knew her beforehand. And, I was, without even knowing me, without even saying hello, nothing.
They knew your date because they went to high school with her.
They went to high school with her, right? And there was a couple in particular that were absolute douchebags. And one was so silly I had to laugh because, in the movies, like, where the aggressor goes up and shakes your hand and shakes it, like, too hard and too long. And
firm eye contact.
Yeah, the whole thing, like, you got a good girl there. You got a good girl is what he's telling me. And, like, I had to just kind of laugh, like, are we acting out some sort of John Hughes movie here? I don't understand how this is
so cliche.
Yeah, I didn't even have a chance to say hello. It was nothing. He just walked right up to me and was a dick.
It's so cliche, so childish. But in closing, not that we can continue conversations about bar behavior if you want. That's fine. But in closing, from where I originally started this conversation, these troubled regulars, Josh, who judge everyone's every move, they said some nice things about you on Friday. They said some nice things about you.
I better not walk in there with an attractive girl, though. Things might change.
Oh, God.
Beer brewing and drinking Jesus has had that where he went to a bar and there was a record scratch moment. That's happened to me twice. One was in Ely, Minnesota. They didn't like the 612ers walking into their regular bar. And I don't know how they knew right away we were 612ers. Probably just because we were new, right? They didn't recognize.
He had showered recently.
Oh, some of those places, if you're in a small enough town, well, that was a kind of a shot at the people of Ely right there. Apparently,
I didn't even pick up on that. Yeah, I thought you were making fun of me.
Just a big.
I was complimenting your hygiene, Josh.
The people of Ely, according to Dana, are just a grotesque, unwashed mass. Okay, Josh, some of those bars, if it's a small enough town, they haven't seen a new face in years.
Yeah, when I lived in Wisconsin, I lived in a town of about 200 people, and I was a regular at the local bar, of course. And it was very much like the movies when somebody walked in and nobody knew who they were.
They weren't treated very well?
Well, I think they were treated okay, I guess, but everybody definitely did, like, it was like a record scratch. Everybody looked at the door. And I always felt guilty because it was just like, habit to watch who was coming in. And then especially if somebody that you don't know comes in, you look for a little bit longer, make them feel uncomfortable.
And you don't, because this happened to me twice. You don't necessarily know what to do. Like, do I continue into the bar, or do I just turn around as if I walked into the wrong place?
Right.
You walk straight in, you sit down at the bar with confidence is what you do, Josh, and that's going to gain you respect.
That's how you do it?
Here's a bar story for you, and it took me a while to get the movie reference. Medical device Jesus says, I walked into a bar once and told the man I need his clothes, his boots, and his motorcycle. Did you get it right away? I didn't get it right.
I still don't.
Okay.
Terminator 2.
I told the man I need his clothes, his boots, and his motorcycle. I was not treated very well by the patrons at that bar, but I did get what I asked for eventually. Yes, Terminator Part 2.
It didn't work out so well for that other guy.
No.
Mentally drunk, but not physically drunk, Jesus said. He's 6'9", 375 pounds. Every time he walks into a bar is a record scratch moment. Oh, I'll bet. I try not to stare at super tall guys, even though when you're kind of shocked how tall, like 6'9", I mean, that's somebody that obviously stands out.
Super tall guys will choke you out on sight.
Well, it's just because I have a friend who's that height, 6'9", and it bothers him a lot. Not like a douchebag, but he's kind of embarrassed by it. Not that you should be, but for whatever reason, he kind of is. And I'm like, dude, I'd love to be that tall, but he says, no, you wouldn't. You know, it's not as awesome as I think it would be.
Ashley, you're a cute little number, right?
Oh, thank you.
You and your fiance have started to pop into my neighborhood bar now and again, and I've appreciated you guys coming all the way from ungodly Coon Rapids to join me for some fun at my neighborhood bar. I am a regular at that bar, and I guarantee you, if you and I didn't work together, if you would have walked in that bar with your fiance, eventually one of those regulars would have pulled me aside and said about your fiance, who's that jack-off? Who's this blonde? Who's the blonde? And who's that jackass hanging out? Even though your fiance is a very nice guy, can get along with anyone, those regulars would have pulled me aside and said, how do you know her? Who's the idiot?
The first time I walked in there, you weren't there yet. I think we arrived before you, and it was so weird because you could tell they're like, who the heck is this girl? Yeah. And then as soon as I started talking to you, I could feel the vibe change. Like people were like, oh, all right, that's one of Nick's friends.
I've been going there for a long time. Oh, man. Speaking of all this bar talk and whatnot, and I mentioned that, a couple folks, this past Friday night, a couple folks pulled me aside to talk about Josh. All of this conversation brings me to this hilarious statistic that I read. It says here, boy, people love themselves. 15% of people would rather be trash-talked behind their backs than not mentioned at all.
Yeah, I don't get this. That's absolutely ridiculous.
So it's a special level of narcissism right there.
As long as someone's saying your name, you're feeling okay.
I don't want that.
I've never subscribed to the, hey, any publicity is good publicity. I've never felt that is, I wouldn't want to be on the negative publicity side.
15% of people would rather be trash talked behind their back than not mentioned at all. And according to the further information here, for a good chunk of people, social invisibility is a fate worse than being bad-mouthed. Just not being mentioned at all is worse than someone saying, boy, that dude sucks. That's funny. Oh, I also thought of you, too, over the weekend, Josh, because I read a funny joke on the internet. This made me think about you. All right, you ready for the joke?
Yes.
Doctor says, it's okay to get an erection during a prostate exam. The patient says, I don't have an erection. And the doctor says, yeah, I know, I do.
I've heard that can happen, though, to the gentleman receiving the prostate exam.
Oh, no kidding.
Well, it's science.
Yeah,
I guess. I don't know. I don't think I got a hard-on during my... I don't know. I was out cold. Maybe I had a hard-on.
Like a nervous
Are you thinking your
boner,
colonoscopy?
Oh, wait a minute. Which is which?
The finger is the prostate exam.
Oh, right. And the colonoscopy is the whole camera.
Yeah, I got one of those coming up. I hope you guys are there. Colonoscopy.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's you counting down the days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be tailgating the parking lot.
You guys are tailgating. Yeah, you're welcome to show up.
Oh, prostate exam versus colonoscopy. Now I'm trying to...
The prostate exam is when you bend over, and then they just give you the finger.
Okay, yeah, that happened to me once, I think. I don't remember.
I had a urologist, funny guy, little guy. He said, hey, trust me, this is worse for me than it is for you. And look, small fingers.
Small fingers.
Then he put the glove on and went for it.
Yeah, you need somebody that has a joking personality like that. I don't know how you guys do that. Well, I guess women get pap smears.
Yeah,
That's
I was going to say, that seems very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's pretty personal. But
hey, you really get to know somebody that day, don't you?
I don't know. It feels a little different. Like the relationship women have with each other versus men. It just feels a little different.
A little more of a bond for you women?
Yeah. If you almost like that, Dana.
What are you going to do? You know what I'm talking about? NWO Jesus texted in on the idea of walking into a bar and everybody's checking you out because you're not a regular. NWO Jesus says, my wife is quite the looker, he says. Yeah, we'll be the judge.
Yeah, prove it.
She's been asked multiple times why she is with me. That's great. What are you doing with this guy? She's been asked multiple times why she is with me or how I ended up with her. I don't get the joke. You guys got to help me out. He says, my response is, I usually say very quietly, Stockholm Syndrome. What is that?
That's where you're kidnapped, and all of a sudden you start to develop feelings for your kidnapped.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Not necessarily romantic feelings, but, positive feelings.
I knew I was going to understand that eventually. That's a good one.
I didn't really like this kidnapping at first, but I'm coming around.
Mm-hmm. This is going to come off incredibly conceited, but I've been asked that before when me and my fiance have gone places. Like, what are you doing with him? And I get irrationally very angry.
People really say that?
And usually they're like, "Oh no, I didn't mean it like that. It was just a joke," because it actually pisses me off.
Yeah, that's pretty rude.
I get that a lot too in my relationships.
Where they ask you?
No, they ask really? Oh, you ended up with that guy?
I bet that's happened to you in every relationship.
Every single one. And
you're really good at outkicking your coverage, though, Dana. You get babes, dude.
Well, thank you, Ashley.
Yeah,
kind of. Thank you.
Yeah, I completely agree with you 100%, and I'm glad you recognize that. Seriously.
Gosh, they are just knockouts. It's crazy.
Mouse and Jesus said the doc, if he presses on your prostate and your taint at the same time, that takes a screenshot. Is that true? That can't be true.
It is kind of, you didn't think about it. How you do a screenshot. It's kind of that same area.
Sprinkler fitter Jesus said he's getting the finger later today, but luckily he's been practicing at home.
Oh, good.
Dr. Pete told us they don't do that as much anymore, our regular physician, every 2 weeks.
The finger?
Yeah, he said they do the test, the blood test.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I
What, are you trying to get me to go to the doctor again with one of these made-up stories?
I can tell you that for sure.
Next thing you know, I get a whole arm in my behind.
You were scarred.
Patrick Ewing is the doctor.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Josh. I can't trust you anymore.
I know, and I understand why. I was lied to by a doctor, and I passed that information on.
Yeah. Years ago, Josh told me that they didn't swab penises anymore, so I went tap dancing into the doctor's office with an STD test. And by the time I left, everyone in the building had swabbed my penis.
Well, and this guy not only told me they don't do it, he shamed me.
Yeah.
I just said, I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous about the swab. He's like, the swab? Oh, this guy thinks we still do the swab.
Yeah.
We haven't done that in years.
He said, what are you, stupid or something?
Yeah, it was like, that's how he looked at me.
Yeah.
And then I was so excited to tell you, and
I needed an STD test at the time.
That's for sure.
Very, very badly.
I couldn't wait to tell you.
Yeah. I needed it very badly.
Oh, man, the look on your face when you told me, I felt miserable. I thought you were kidding. I'm like,
when I came into work the next day, I planned on kicking your ass.
I understand.
Yeah.
You brought some of those swabs with you.
I did. I fantasized about beating you to near death after what you had done to me.
Yeah,
Nick comes in with a swab like the American gladiators he used to fight with, that size. Like, I'll give you a swab.
that's what they look like.
Well, I told the doctor at the end of the procedure, I said, no, leave it in there.
Have you ever had one of those,
So
Dana?
I could show you when I got to work. It was terrible.
No, I've only had the mouth tests.
The mustache.
The mouth test, like the
mouth
swabs.
test.
For STD?
Mm-hmm.
I've
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Maybe we do different things in the bedroom. I've never had that. I've just...
Whose mouth was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the swabs either the mouth or the downstairs.
Well, so you have had the swab down below?
Yes.
Well, yeah, the Q-tip or whatever it is, the swab, it's gigantic.
Yeah.
I mean...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Mine said Christian Brothers on it.
Is it actually? Why is it so large? Are you serious?
Because we are all large.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, we're all very large.
They get in there for you.
Only in America, Jesus. Josh could help you out on a topic we were covering earlier. You said once or twice you walked into a bar, the needle came off the record. Everybody was trying to figure out who you were, right? You were up north?
In one of the cases, yeah.
Only in America, Jesus. Here's how you win over a crowd full of regulars. You walk straight in. You go buy $20 worth of pull tabs. You pull a 500. They'll all love you.
Oh, no.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yep,
man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
They'll give you a round of applause.
I remember seeing that for the first time where somebody got pretty pissed off at someone who won that. I didn't really understand. I've never played pull tabs before that.
I still don't get it.
I've seen
Oh,
that
people
plenty
get
of times.
enraged. It's like bingo.
I still don't get it.
I'm scared to win at bingo.
What
Yeah.
box?
Luckily, I've never won.
Josh, I was at a bar by my house this past weekend playing some pool, and we've been there quite a few times. We're familiar with the bartenders, but we've never played bingo. Never been there for a bingo night, and I thought, screw it, I'll play some bingo. And I won the second game, and after I won, I didn't want to play anymore because I thought, all right, if I win two, I'm dead. I don't play this enough. They're going to kill me.
Yeah, I worry about that.
I was so scared.
Yeah, bingo regulars are a different type of regulars.
I slashed a guy's tires once for walking into our bar and winning bingo.
Oh.
Yeah.
They all eyeballed me when I went to the bathroom. I hated it.
Now, more anxiety than hair Jesus is calling me out, saying, you're one to talk. You bring up my wife being too good for me all the time. I don't know that I've said that. Maybe I have. More anxiety than hair Jesus is beautiful. Have I said that? I mean,
I mean, his wife is more beautiful, but he's
Probably.
he's an okay guy.
I don't remember.
very attractive.
I don't remember if you've trash talked him before.
Asian cop Jesus' cousin. Now, that's someone I've mentioned, but that one I can't figure out. He's a nice enough guy, but his girlfriend could be a supermodel by far.
His friggin' girlfriend. Flavor of the month is all she is to him. All right, what else is going on? Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder will be here a little bit later. I'll be up late tonight watching the basketball game.
Yeah, why is it so late? 9 o'clock, right?
Because they play in the friggin' Western Conference. They
God,
got to get the
that's
hell out of there.
stupid.
They got to get, this is the worst time of year. They got to get the hell out of the Western Conference.
I wish they would have flipped it. Saturday night, 9:30 would have been just fine. I could have stayed up for that, but it was 7:30 on Saturday. Now it's 9:30 tonight, and that's not good on a Monday.
I probably would have still complained, I'm going to be honest.
I agree with you. Nobody should start something at 9:30.
That's crazy.
No matter the day of the week.
I'm at the point now where if it's not 6 or 7, I'm upset.
I got frustrated with some high school friends and I are trying to get together a little more, and somebody brought up the idea of going to dinner at 8 p.m.
What?
I thought, that's insane.
That's next day's breakfast. That's not dinner.
Are we in a different country here? Why would it ever be 8 p.m.?
What?
I'm totally comfortable with that.
Yeah, I can't leave the house at 7:30.
I don't eat till late.
That's
but
ridiculous.
That's my problem. So here we go. Firing up a fresh work week with a late-ass Timberwolves game tonight. Oh, man. Yeah, here we go.
Do you have a prediction?
For tonight?
Yeah.
Prediction? Pain. What movie? Rocky 3. No, this series has been so weird.
Has been kind of weird.
It's just been weird. So, I have no predictions.
And I can say that as a fan who's been watching all the way since the beginning of the playoffs.
Same thing last year. Same thing for you last year.
Yeah, biggest fan in town once the playoffs started.
You started watching when the playoffs started, and by the second round, I mean, you knew everything.
Yeah,
you knew every damn thing.
There's nobody who enjoyed the Wolves more than me. Nobody gave that commitment more than I did.
Here's a listener who says, stupid, stupid Mondays. Remember, the first 5 days after the weekend are the hardest. Hang in there.
Very good point.
Asian Cup Jesus' cousin, Jesus, is listening, and he was just waiting for one of us to comment on the disparity of looks between he and his girlfriend.
I knew it was coming.
I don't know. Do I know these people?
Yeah, you've met them.
And they have
On the boat
gorgeous,
cruises.
significant others?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And you put them in the category of out-kicking their coverage, is how you put it, I think? Or
At
someone
least
put it.
Asian Cop Jesus' cousin Jesus.
Okay. All right. I'll have to see these people then.
He could be the definition of this.
Okay.
Not to put too fine a point on it,
I'll check them out.
which I just did.
I'll check them out this summer. Hopefully I'll get a chance to meet them.
They get on a boat or something like that or come out to the fair.
Hell of a deal. Here's the situation Monday morning. We appreciate you hanging in there with us. We'll hopefully push through an entire 5-day work week. And by the end of it, just be happier than hell that we got involved. We'll take a break. We'll try some stupid news when we return here on the friggin' Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's because I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and t-shirts that give back. One purchased equals one donated. Now go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
No Contest Wrestling. O'Shea Jackson Jr. and TJ Jefferson with the biggest names in the game.
Give it up for the Dark Angel.
First
La
one.
Primera. First.
I can't believe it.
NXT double champion. Welcome the King, Lexus King.
I don't know if I'd be where I'm at now if I didn't take the path that I took.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jada Parker.
What made you, after the soccer career, go WWE?
The answer I always have to that is like, why not?
The No Contest Wrestling Podcast, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Man, what a crowd. It's that Monday crowd, Josh.
I'm feeling it.
They're ravenous. Better cut to the chase and dump this stupid news report on them. When you're unbelievably stupid, I mean just an off-the-charts, stupid, violent jag-off, there's sadly nothing that can change that. Absolutely nothing. Some folks just cannot get right no matter what. Not even piles and piles of monies can alter the approach of an unbelievably stupid, violent person. This story is frustrating. It is. At least I know I felt some frustration when reading it. The irreversibly stupid individual here is a 50-year-old from Kentucky by the name of James Farthing. Do you think that plays a part in his problem, Josh? He just can't get past the anger of being born into the Farthing family?
It sounds kind of fancy, doesn't it?
Well, it sounds like farting to me.
Oh, you pronounced the TH so prominently, I didn't even get the farting part there. Yeah, farthing.
Farthing.
If you read it, it's more like farting. But farthing, I guess I don't hear it.
Farthing is a word in a Queen song called All Dead, All Dead, from their unbelievable 1977 record called News of the World. She came without a farthing. It must be like a fancy English word for a warning, but I can't be sure.
I thought that was money. Isn't a farthing like a coin there? Or maybe it was a coin?
Not a clue. I was always assuming for all these years. Yeah, sorry. Maybe I should have read the name out loud or, spelled it out for you. Farthing. I thought that might have been part of his problem, that he's been troubled from the word go.
Josh, you were right, by the way. A farthing is a British coin worth 1/4 of a penny.
That's what my car's worth.
Well, then what the hell's Brian May singing about in that song when he says, she came without a farthing?
She's came from nothing?
Came from nothing, yeah.
Oh, that's what he means?
Poor.
Beautiful song. All right, James Farthing, 50-year-old in Kentucky. This sumbitch just won a $167.3 million Powerball jackpot.
Oof.
He's already been presented with the check. All of his problems are over, right? My damn. He's got life nailed.
You're going to be in a good mood, you'd think, for a very long time.
Right? Nope.
Nothing would get to me at $167 million.
Me neither.
Heck no.
Me neither. James, Mr. Farthing, is an ex-convict. And one day, after getting his check that says $167.3 million running dollars on it, he was arrested after a fight broke out at a hotel where he was staying. James had punched at least one guy, and when a cop showed up to break up the scuffle, James went ahead and kicked the cop in the face.
Oh.
I suppose just 2 days prior, he was still regular James. Maybe it would take him a little longer to be rich James, where he'd stay out of something like that.
Got into a fist fight, kicked a cop in the face, and was arrested for felony battery on a law enforcement officer. And he's even in worse trouble because this arrest violates his effing parole. He's currently in jail. It's unclear if he'll be sent back to prison or for how long. You can't make it up. All he had to do, Mr. Farthing, is walk the F away and get on with his new $167 million life. But his unavoidable stupidity wouldn't allow him to do it. Just walk away.
He kind of looks like what actor Chris Pine might look like if you put a scraggly beard on him and aged him by 10 to 15 years.
I wouldn't know Chris Pine if the two of us were scissoring, but I'll take your word for it.
You're going to say someone you wouldn't even ask them, hey, what's your name? What do you do for a living? Nothing.
What's that?
If you're going to scissor someone, you wouldn't want to know anything about them?
I don't need to know anything about them, no. I mean, maybe I'll get curious after a few pumps, but just to fire something like that up, no, I don't need to know them at all.
I'd want to know something. Do you know his dad is Robert Pine?
Get right out of town.
Yeah, from Chips.
Oh, you've mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you just saying that sarcastically, not knowing who Robert Pine is?
I don't know much about Chris Pine either, to be honest with you, let alone his father.
Oh, I'm kind of surprised.
What is he from? Star Trek or something?
He's in that. Yeah, he's in quite a few things. He's on my Chris list.
As he should be.
Robert Pine. I loved Chips.
Yeah, which one was Robert Pine on, Chips?
He was like the, Sergeant, he was like one of the bosses on there.
Sergeant Hot Nuts?
I can't remember.
Yeah, you've brought this up before.
I can't remember his last name.
You've brought this up before, and I watched a little bit of Chips. Okay, now I recognize him, now that I looked him up. Okay, sure. I think his character's name was Dinkus.
You're talking about Robert Pine?
Officer Dinkus.
I was like,
I recognize him.
I'm too lazy to Google.
I do recognize him
it.
from the television show.
I got a computer right in front of me.
All right, this is just silly. You don't dare say a word to anyone anymore. The risk is just too great. A lady out there in the ridiculous United Kingdom, she got all pissy with her coworkers and she sued her workplace. She ended up winning 40 effing grand in court. And this whole gong show started because she was upset that her coworkers gave her the nickname Darth Vader. Not fat ass or ugly or stupid idiot. Her nickname was Darth Vader, and she had to sue the company. Lorna is how you say this. Rook is the gal's real name. And her lawyer said in court, Darth Vader is a legendary villain of the Star Wars series, and being aligned with his personality is insulting. I'm telling you. We are so effing weak these days, it's just terrible.
Are you homeschooled?
This is so stupid.
It is.
I mean, I'm sorry she was so hurt by it, but I can't imagine that ever bothering me.
Now, this whole mess, of course, Josh, because you're a normal, functioning, fully grown adult at this point. This whole mess started when the company that Lorna worked for asked everyone to take a Star Wars-themed psychological test as a team-building exercise. The questionnaire had folks answer this question and that question. And then the workers were compared to a Star Wars character. You know, you're like Yoda, or you're like Spock, or whoever the hell else is a featured character in... You take a little psychological exam, and then they spit out an answer, and you are compared to a Star Wars character.
So they basically made him take a BuzzFeed quiz for work.
Essentially, yeah.
It's so dumb.
And once it's over, everyone gets on with their lives, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Lorna didn't fill the quiz out herself. She was on the telephone at the time. A coworker filled out the form for her, and the quiz came to the conclusion that Lorna was a lot like Darth Vader. Ha ha, very funny. But this was just far too insulting for the obviously oversensitive Lorna, so she ups and sues the company, killing the buzz in the place altogether. And she won $40,000. You just don't say a word to anybody anymore.
No.
What the heck?
Props to her for working for a company that could pay $40,000 or something.
Something so stupid.
Yeah, I would never want to own a business for things like this. Things you just can't control or ever predict.
Now, I don't know if you remember this lawsuit, staying with the topic of ridiculous lawsuits, and we're just surrounded by them nowadays. A few years ago, a damn Frenchman was fired from his gig for being too boring. The company just said, dude, you got nothing going on. You bore the hell out of us. You're gone.
He's the Toby of The Office.
Perfect, Ashley.
What is that a reference to?
The Office.
Never saw it.
I know.
This dude was fired for being too boring. He sued, and he won. The court ruled that his former company's definition of fun violated his rights, his rights. Now, according to the story, his company's idea of fun involved excessive alcohol consumption and simulated sex acts.
What?
Those days are gone, aren't they, Cubby?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Here in the
going on
workplace. You can't do that in the workplace. But dude was fired for being boring, and he sued and he won.
Double D Jesus says the idea of this woman suing for being compared to Darth Vader is exactly what Darth Vader would do.
Oh.
It does sound like something Darth Vader would do. Box Tossing Jesus said, now that company's never going to do anything remotely fun again. Yeah, too much risk.
Mm-hmm.
Too much risk.
I don't know. I just don't know anymore. All right, I'm not qualified at all to take the lead on our next two items here. This is Cubby territory. We're talking about that artificial intelligence. I don't even possess natural intelligence. So there isn't going to be any fancy editing involved here. I'm just going to read these stories straight up. And when I struggle, somebody has to jump in and help a future Minnesota Broadcasting Hall of Famer out. Story number is a sad story. A 37-year-old dude by the name of Christopher Pelkey was killed in a road rage incident in Chandler, Arizona, back in 2021. But last month, artificial intelligence brought him back to life during his killer's sentencing hearing. And this was the first time in Arizona judicial history, or possibly nationwide, that AI has been used to create a deceased victim's own impact statement. What the hell do you make of that?
Yeah, it's odd.
That's odd.
It's really, I think that's really weird.
I know the family was instrumental in making this happen, but I wouldn't feel right if that was. I'm not judging them. I'm just saying if I was in that situation, it'd be kind of weird, like looking at a loved one that somebody created their AI.
Dude.
And also somebody had to script, right? That's their words, not your loved ones.
Yeah, kind of assuming what you would want to say. You don't really know necessarily.
Because maybe he'd want to say F you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pissed I'm dead. This sucks.
So Pelkey is the name of the poor guy that got killed. His sister and brother-in-law used artificial intelligence to recreate his image and voice to talk to the courtroom about his life. And the day he met a feller called Gabriel Paul Horcasitas, the guy who shot him to death during a road rage confrontation. So they flipped on a television screen, and the dead guy gave his own impact statement. That sounds very interesting to me.
Here's Chris in a real recording before his death.
Just like Jesus says, love God and love people.
And here's the AI version, forgiving the shooter, scripted by Stacy.
It is a shame we encountered each other that day in those circumstances. In another life, we probably could have been friends.
Ah!
The technology is impressive and scary at the same time.
Scary is the key word there. If I had a bell, I'd ring it right now.
Talking to that Horcasitas character while he sits there in court, as you heard, the artificial intelligence version of this Christopher Pelkey said, in another life, we probably could have been friends. They also had videos, real videos, while Pelkey was still alive. It showed a real photo that Pelkey once took with an old age filter. Do you know what that means?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, dude, when he was still alive, he was horsing around with an old age filter, and it created an image of him an image of what he might look like when he was older. And the artificial intelligence version of Pelkey said, this is the best I can ever give you of what I would have looked like if I had the chance to grow old. Dude. I mean, that's heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
It is.
The state asked for a 9.5-year sentence for this Horcasitas guy. The judge ended up giving the guy 10.5 years in prison for manslaughter after being so moved by the powerful artificial intelligence video. That is really something. That's a pretty solid idea on the family's part. I know it sounds weird and creepy. Of course it does. It's a dead man speaking. But I think that's brilliant what they did.
Some of that stuff is, I'm sure if you're good at this kind of thing, you can pick it out pretty easily. But like Ashley, when you made those action figures of us, and I mentioned before, we had a training, security training here at work, where they created a fake Zoom meeting. and it looked like a real Zoom. I mean, some of that stuff is absolutely insane. Certainly the voices are so easy to use. I messed with that. And then we've done the songs, right? Where you just write the lyrics and it sings a song within seconds, and it sounds legit.
I really, I'm impressed by what they put together. This Pelkey character's family.
I would be angry from the grave.
You wouldn't want that to be done? I mean, you wouldn't want to be. Why not?
Because of them assuming what I would say. That's just weird.
Well, these are family members.
Yeah, but they don't know how I would feel about that.
They don't?
I think I'd be pretty ticked off and very unforgiving if somebody killed me.
Well, don't you think your family knows that, and they would probably present you to be that way?
I don't know. There's certain family
that wouldn't work in court if you're just like, kiss my ass, you son of a bitch. But
so then they'd have to ease it back, which you wouldn't want them to do.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
I think there's certain family members too who would, I don't know, I guess they're more about like forgiveness and that line of thinking, and I'm not that way.
Well, then your family likely wouldn't have presented you that way.
I don't know. Some family members, some families don't give a crap.
Wouldn't you think though, if you're the guy on trial and they bring out the AI person for the little speech there, you go, all right, I'm cooked. Nope, nothing I can do here. I'm in for 15 years now.
Yeah.
Well, you see the judge is tearing up.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, the jury's all sobbing. You're like, all right, well, I guess I got to get used to life in prison now.
Yeah, I wonder if this is just going to open up an appeal. Maybe we should talk to Ryan Pasiga about something like this.
Now, there was a big chunk of information in this article about whether or not artificial intelligence should be allowed in situations like this, in murder cases and things like that. I'm the last swinging D that would have the answer to that question. But also, one guy shot another guy to death in a road rage incident, and he only got 10 and a half years in prison?
I don't understand that. Yeah, I don't get it.
So, Ashley, are you saying that you don't? I'll ask the question this way: wouldn't you be okay if your family presented you in court to be this very forgiving person, just in order to really turn the screws on the person that killed you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's just, it just weirds me out.
I trust, of course, it's all very weird, but trust me, I trust my family if they wanted to present an AI version of me after I'm dead. Let's say somebody beats me to death in the street, and my family wants that.
I could guess the city.
Yeah, and I'm going to be
Maple Lake.
I'm going to be going there in a couple of weeks. By the way,
no.
I'm making a return to Maple Lake.
Well, maybe pre-write something so we make sure your family gets it right.
Yeah,
update that will.
I think I don't know. From the grave, if I'm somehow able to understand what's going on, which obviously I don't, but we like to pretend like that's real. Like people can look down on you. I don't believe. Anyway. If I could watch my family present me to be someone completely different in order to put the bad guy away for life, I would be very entertained by that, is what I'm saying.
You're laughing your ass off.
The people in the courthouse are like, you know what, Nick's not a bad guy.
I never knew him to be like that. I always thought he was kind of a dildo, I would think, Ashley, if you were given that same opportunity to look down upon the hearing, and your family completely bullshit the judge into thinking you're this innocent little thing, right?
Yeah.
And the bad guy's going, are you kidding me? She was a pain in the ass, And the guy goes away forever. You get a laugh out of that.
That does seem pretty humorous, as long as they make me, super hot.
Yeah.
So an accurate representation.
I mean, the crowd is just uncomfortable. You're so good looking. The jury is the men are removing themselves from, I can't judge. She's so hot. Of course I'm going to take her.
Guy in the jury's got to do an up tuck in his pants.
That's all of this is just crazy to me. Did I even? Oh God, I never even got to this. Yeah, we have another artificial intelligence related story. Says here now, an Australian. We're all going to lose our jobs, aren't we, Josh?
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely coming.
An Australian radio station secretly used an AI host for 6 months without telling anybody, and it has some folks pissed off. The station, which broadcasts in a town called Sydney, created a host called Ty, I believe is how it's said out loud, Ty. This was by using artificial intelligence and some software, this, that. The show was called Work Days with Ty. And,
in 2 minutes is the weekend, and then Lisa teaming up with Ray for Born Again.
That's Ty right there.
Okay, that's Ty. It's a lady. Ty would play some tunes for a few hours a day, Monday to Friday. But the radio station did not mention on its website or promotional materials, whatever that means, the radio station made no mention that Ty was not a real person. Ty's true identity only came to light after a local writer wrote about Ty and questioned whether Ty was a real person. The writer put in the local paper somewhere, why is this Ty? Why does Ty have no last name? Who is she? Where does she come from? There's no biography on the radio station's website as to who this person is. And then someone studied the audio of Ty on the radio. Audio of Ty on the radio. I just wanted to make sure I said that correctly. And they noticed that during different segments, she said the word old school a lot and said it in a certain way to where someone picked it out. Someone said, oh, every time she says old school, it sounds exactly the same. So that's how they figured out it was a artificially intelligent person, and the radio station admitted it. There are currently no rules against the use of AI in broadcast content. However, the station was criticized for not disclosing the use of AI on one of its regular shows. And I'm going to be calling my brother-in-law at the friggin' Chrysler plant here pretty soon.
What the heck? I don't like this.
So, I don't know.
I guess I'd probably be a little bit bothered if I was listening to a station for 6 months or so and found out that it was I would just, because it would make me feel dumb. I'd be like, I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I'm in love with her.
Yeah. I wonder how many dudes. Uh-oh.
I mean, I don't want to hear a robot. I want to hear a real person. But that's just me. That's as far as I can go with this because I don't understand a word of it. Did the radio station do this just to save money, to not pay a human being? I don't know the rest of the details.
Mm-hmm. I'd imagine that's exactly right.
Okay.
I mean, you can, it's so easy to do.
Do you have more of her to where we can, do you have more audio of Ty to where maybe we could see if we
grab some more.
Notice anything?
I just have the one clip here.
Okay. Did you listen to a lot more of it?
I did. I streamed some of it.
And did it sound real as hell?
I mean, when you can kind of pick out certain things, but if you're just casually listening, driving around, whatever, you probably wouldn't pick up on it. There's a couple times where it seems a little odd.
Okay. Well, I certainly hope this isn't the way we're going. Because, again, the Chrysler plant.
Yeah, I don't know. You do wonder, especially how easy it is to do.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we're all retired by then, by the time it becomes mainstream. Josh's mom's master Jesus.
Whoa.
He says that I sound exactly the same every time I shout, never saw it. Yeah, I suppose I do. Now people are questioning whether or not we're real.
Why would they ask something like that?
How would we even prove that we were?
I don't know. Isn't that
That's scary. I don't know.
Now I'm wondering as well.
I think one of us has to fart into the microphone.
Are we real?
I think the only thing that can prove we're real is a bodily function. So, see, there you go. Robots don't fart. AI doesn't fart, does it, Josh?
They're going to figure it out soon enough.
AI doesn't touch itself on air.
But you do.
Yeah, but yep. I do. All right. It's all very frightening. Artificial intelligence, all very frightening. Let's get back to something simple. Kids. They do stupid things. But they have an excuse. They're completely stupid. A woman in Kentucky by the name of Holly says her 8-year-old kid went ahead and ordered 30 cases of Dum Suckers on Amazon. You know the Dum Dums, right?
Oh, yeah.
Those are the worst ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I like blow pops because I like the gum in the middle.
You're bougie.
Yeah, no kidding. Gosh, I loved a Dum Dum when I was a kid.
I always thought they were terrible as well, Ashley.
He told me that he wanted to have a carnival, and he was ordering the Dum Dums as prizes for his carnival.
Except for the cotton candy ones, I was going to say. Those ones slap.
I mean, no candy is terrible. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, it's sugar. It's
I'm just saying, I'll throw a Dum Dum in the garbage if I'm within 10 miles of a blow pop.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, here we have
tiny little sumbitch and Dum. They were so little.
It doesn't satisfy me.
Blow pops are certainly better, but there's nothing wrong with Dum Dums.
Like I said, there's no candy that's terrible, but I'll throw a Dum Dum in the garbage if a blow pop is within 10 miles of me. But anyway.
Box tossing Jesus. He said, if Nick can say monogamy, then I know you're real. Give it a shot, Nick, if you could. Monogamy.
How does that prove that I'm real?
Well, that's just what he needs you to say it to be sounding real, I guess.
But the real Nick, if I were him, can't pronounce monogamy.
That's what I think. AI probably.
But I just did.
You did, didn't you?
Oh, we're in a weird paradox now.
AI Nick has busted himself.
Oh, no.
Real Nick could never pronounce monogamy.
No, he couldn't.
But this one can. All right. Little kid ordered 30 cases of Dum Dum suckers. Each case had 2,340 suckers, which means this kid was getting more than 70,000 Dum Dums, and the kid's mother was going to be charged $4,000. Mom, what did Mom say there? The little kid was talking nonsense saying, I'm going to have a carnival. You see what I mean? Kids are so stupid. You're not going to have a carnival. Josh, right? This kid's not having a carnival.
No, he's too dumb to realize he can't organize that. I mean, good luck getting a permit.
What do you know about hosting a carnival?
Yeah, you know nothing about it.
You're 7 or 8 years old. Do you know?
You're going to need a porta potty. You're going to need security. You're going to need some medical personnel standing by. And you've got connections and all that.
You think you can handle the Catalina wine mixer?
9 times out of 10, a kid will say something that out loud, and everyone thinks it's cute. It's not cute. It's stupid. Because he does not know how to file for a permit. He does not know any of what Josh just mentioned. Porta potties, security. You are not going to have a carnival.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
That is a sign of immaturity.
It is. Mom flips out. She's on the hook for $4,000. She contacts Amazon. And initially they were cool about it. She was told she could just refuse the suckers once they came to her door, and Amazon would refund her monies. But when the Amazon driver did come to her door, they didn't knock or ring the doorbell. They just stacked all the cases on her porch. They upped and left. Then Mom calls Amazon again, and they said, sorry, we can't take the boxes once they're delivered. Can't take them back.
What the heck, Amazon?
Well, some people say that's because it was a food item. Anyways, Holly, the mom of this stupid kid who talks a big game and can never back it up, told her story on that godless social media. She passed the story on to a couple of, television stations in town. People started ordering boxes from her to help her out. And by God, she managed to sell them all. Eventually, Amazon reached out and said they'd refund her monies. They still weren't interested in taking the suckers back, so Holly told the folks who bought the suckers she'd donate their money, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, she ended up getting rid of all of these unwanted suckers.
I just panicked, and then when I saw what the number was, I just about fainted.
The order was so large, she's had to put some of it in her garage.
Now, that sounded like AI. Who talks like that?
Yeah.
The order was so large, she ended up having to put some of it in her garage. What the hell? What's interesting about that? Why didn't you edit that out? All right, I'm blowing up about everything over here.
Well, this kid got you real riled up.
Yeah. The order was so large. All right.
Why do some news people talk like that?
I don't know.
Is that news school?
It's got to be.
It's all good now. It's all good.
That's so many suckers. Oh, my gosh.
Also, the arrogance that he's going to get that many people at this carnival that is never going to happen.
You're not that popular. I've seen your friend group.
And and if it's for kids, how are they going to get there?
Yeah.
Transportation? Did you figure that one out?
How are they going to pay to get in?
If I lived in that town, I'd start a rival carnival that would shut that kid down.
Mom says she's going to go ahead and change some settings on her phone and also remove a few of her child's fingers so this doesn't happen again. We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
If that isn't an indication of how poorly someone's penis works, I don't know what is.
Half-assed Morning Show. 93X. Sports. On the 93X Half-assed Morning Show.
Shoots this one fair inside the left field line, and Deshaun Kersey Jr. swings away and walks it off, and Brooks Lee scores, and the Twins sweep the Giants. 7-6 the final in 10, and the Twins have won 8 straight ball games.
That's what we were saying. We were saying this in April. When the weather warms up, this team starts hitting.
Yeah, Twins are back, baby.
They start hitting. And they got another series sweep. They beat the Giants yesterday. The young kid shoots that one out to left field, and they win the game in extras over the San Francisco Giants. This is really starting to get fun now.
And we're going to garbage Baltimore and beat up them again. That'd be great.
Well, we'll see. They start a 3-game series in Baltimore tomorrow night. I'm happy for the friggin' Twins.
They're at 500 now?
Yep. One game over, I think, now.
Are you serious?
One game over.
That's great.
Yeah.
Rocco.
You see Rocco get kicked out of that ball game?
That was fun.
Threw his friggin' ball cap out onto the field.
Oh, there was a funny line about that.
Kiss my ass, he said. Oh, the Mary Tyler Moore line?
That was good.
That is now the second most famous hat toss in this city to Mary Tyler Moore.
That AI announcer did a good job with that. Did they work that out before the ball game?
They must have somehow.
Rocco gets thrown out of the game. He throws his lid out onto the field, and the announcer dumps that line on us that quickly?
It seemed that was awful quick. And that reference is, you'd have to think about that.
You do. I was taken back by that, too. And all the times I've seen Gardy throw his hat around back in the day, that never popped into my mind.
Maybe this announcer used to do Mary Tyler Moore or something like that.
Lucky.
Yeah, lucky bastard. Boy, I'm totally screwed. We were talking about AI. You know, AI is taking over the world. In Australia, an Australian radio station put an artificially intelligent host on air, and no one knew for 6 months that this was a robot talking. And a lot of people are pissed off about it, they say. And I love this line of thinking. The listeners of this radio station in Australia were saying, hey, that's not cool. You know, you don't replace humans with robots on air. You don't do that to us. If you're going to do it, at least let us know. I don't know. It feels like we're all screwed. And I'm in even worse shape. I'm in even worse shape than I thought, Josh. You know how whenever our job is in jeopardy, I talk about how I'm going to go work for my brother-in-law at the friggin' Chrysler plant?
Yep.
A listener notified me that the Chrysler plant is already all robots, too.
Oh, no. I guess that makes sense.
My brother-in-law hasn't said a word about that when I call him on the phone to ask him, how are things going? Oh, he hasn't said anything about that.
Maybe he doesn't work there anymore.
Well, he might have been fired and replaced with a robot by now. Another series sweep for the Twins. Wolves play late tonight against the Warriors. We can get into that a little bit later when Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder stop by. Sabu is dead.
That sucks. I love that guy.
Maybe later on we can get more into Sabu.
Sabu gets caught by the big show. Sabu got caught. Sabu's in trouble. Sabu hanging on for dear life. Wait a minute, Joey. Sabu. Oh my God! Wait a minute. Sabu. He gets Sabu got the contract. Sabu's got the contract.
I couldn't understand a word that was Taz in there somewhere. What were they screaming about? Sabu
got a contract.
Is that when they threw him off the? This was one of those hardcore wrestlers. They just throw him off a 5-story building on top of a flatbed trailer filled with 10,000. What do you call those things again?
Light bulbs.
The fluorescent light bulbs, and then they'd thumbtack him.
There wasn't a bump Sabu one take.
No, he was only 60 when he died, and I don't have a cause of death for you wrestling fans. Sorry to tell you that Sabu is gone. We did receive a few texts on the subject. He had a lot of bloody matches with Taz. I remember back in the day.
Easy down.
He and Rob Van Dam would tear each other to shreds now and again. 60 years old, that's way too young. And he just wrestled just a couple months ago. Wait a minute. Yeah, WrestleMania weekend, which was what, April?
Yeah.
He was wrestling very recently. That's too bad. I'm sorry to be the guy to tell you if you hadn't heard already. We got to take a break. Josh's news report's coming up next.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
Actor Michael Rosenbaum, he knows some of the most talented people in the business.
Will Wheaton is here. I'm getting ready to do this podcast. I text my Star Trek family. That is a supernatural impulse.
If you're here for Jay Moore, you found the right place.
Have you always had a large personality?
The nicest way anybody's ever put it.
You always warn people out.
From Twilight, Ashley Green.
We were just like, no one's going to see this. This is not going to be a good movie.
I really love the movies.
Don't feel bad.
The Inside of You podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Idly ho, neighborinos.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
It's like the truck somehow lost control. It first hit this mail truck here, then collided with a power pole, knocking down and slicing it basically in half. And then it crashed into some parked cars here.
A 44-year-old dump truck driver plowed into the legendary Los Angeles music venue Whiskey A Go-Go Friday afternoon, just hours before a scheduled performance from the band Boy Hits Car.
Also have to mention, as a really crazy coincidence, the name of the band that is headlining tonight is called Boy Hits Car. What are the chances of something like that happening here?
Barreling through power poles and plowing into multiple parked vehicles, the truck concluded its ironic intrusion, embedded within the legendary venue with the remix of Car Hits Club. No injuries were reported.
Wow, the whiskey used to be cool.
Yeah, I've never...
Now Boy Hits Car is headlining at the Whiskey.
I've never heard of Boy Hits Car. Yeah. I don't know how big that was of a disappointment to folks going to the show.
How far that joint has fallen. Well,
the dump truck might have done them a favor.
Oh, yeah, we get to cancel Boy Hits Car now. Well, that's a hell of a deal that they crashed right into the joint.
A Florida man crashed his car, then tried to pin it on a mystery woman he claimed he just met. 9:46 p.m. Tuesday, an Apple crash alert notified dispatch a vehicle had wrecked in a roundabout. When police arrived, a witness told them a man had fled the scene on foot after begging them not to call the cops. Didn't take long for officers to find 63-year-old Jeffrey Treadwell, who matched the description. Confronted about the crash, he pointed the finger at his so-called girlfriend, insisted she was driving. She was driving, but she took off, he said, adding that her name was Stacy, a girl he claimed to have just met. But officers weren't buying it. Treadwell showed signs of intoxication, and when they brought him back to the mangled vehicle, his story didn't match up. Only the driver's side airbag had deployed. The doors were badly damaged, and the passenger side didn't even appear to have been opened, suggesting that no one else had been in that car. Adding to the officer's suspicions, he refused to take a breathalyzer test.
So he screwed up the fake girlfriend story.
Yeah, they figured that one out pretty quick.
You could have coached him on that.
The fake girlfriend?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I don't know. I've had my doubts about that gal that lives supposedly in the Niagara Falls area.
Well, she's on the American side. It's not the Canadian thing everybody does. She's just very busy. Why don't you understand that?
She's a busy model.
As an international model,
right.
You can understand her time is taken by photographs and spending it with me, with coitus and whatnot. A 32-year-old Connecticut cop might have made it out of his sinking squad unscathed last week, but rescuing his reputation or escaping teasing from his fellow officers will be much more difficult. Just before sunrise last Tuesday, the officer pulled into a sports complex for a routine check. Thanks to recent heavy rains, though, a nearby pond overflowed, creeping up onto the roadway and blurring the line between solid ground and deep water. While trying to back out, the cruiser slipped, and suddenly he was in the pond.
He'll never live this down.
Nope, never. Hopefully he's toward the end of his career.
Yeah, find a new job, man.
But he's only 32, so probably not.
That sucks.
The vehicle began to fill with water fast. Trapped inside and unable to open the door, he managed to roll down the window, climb out, and scramble onto the roof. From there, he radioed for help while the SUV continued drifting. Eventually, floating about 20 feet out before firefighters arrived with a lifeboat and brought the embarrassed law enforcer safely to shore.
That's going to come up at the softball game.
While he wasn't physically injured, his ego was badly bruised.
I wonder how long it took him to actually call. How long he thought about that. Like, do it, should I? I don't know.
He must not be able to swim. And how deep is this pond?
Oh, yeah. Maybe he's not much of a swimmer.
He sees a firefighter showing up. I'm screwed.
Yeah. Oh, no, everybody knows.
Yeah.
Let's keep this discreet.
Boys, we just keep this one time just between us.
One fearless bull had it with hoofing it, so he did what any badass bovine would do. Hijacked a parked scooter outside a shop and hit the streets for an Indian joyride. This video is on 93x.com. It's one of my favorite videos I've seen in a while.
A cow on a motorcycle?
Yeah, bull.
It's so cool.
CCTV footage captured the moment of the parading bull as he engaged the machine, climbed aboard, born to ride like he'd been doing it his whole life. But the bull couldn't quite handle the horsepower, didn't nail the brakes, and the bull plowed straight into a wall.
I meant to do that.
The video, however, shows the raging bull can take a punch. Cool as ever, he shrugged it off as the scooter toppled beneath him and waddled away. Again, you can see that video on 93x.com.
He's just having the time of his life.
He looks like a pro until he crashed.
I got to find this pig.
A bull. A 41-year-old New Mexico man threw an unconventional weapon at cops last week. A small stolen dog. When officers approached 41-year-old Bobby Chavez outside a gas station, right next to a clearly posted no trespassing sign, they told him he was being detained for trespassing. As he dug through his wallet for his ID, instead of handing over identification, he hurled the small dog he was holding at the officer, then bolted with great courage. The officer gave chase as the canine catapulting culprit dashed into a nearby apartment through an unlocked screen door where he took a neighbor hostage. According to police, Chavez asked to use the woman's phone. When she tried to leave, he blocked her and shut the door. Thankfully, though, she managed to slip out a back door shortly after. Chavez was arrested and faces a buttload of charges: false imprisonment, battery on a police officer, resisting arrest, and he may also be charged with animal cruelty. As for the dog, it's doing fine and is back with its rightful owner.
What the heck, dude? The poor puppy.
Just very confused, I'd imagine.
Who is this guy?
Did you watch the bull video, Nick?
All I'm seeing is a series of weird cartoons.
How are you? Is an ad?
You'd have to get back to me. I'm not doing this right.
A 34-year-old Kansas man was arrested in the bathroom of a Lawrence gas station last week after he refused to stop pleasuring himself and then bit his wiener.
He refused to stop. Bit whose wiener?
His wiener dog, as well as a police officer. And then things got weird.
A guy's jacking off. He bites his own dog?
Yes, he does.
And then things get weird.
Yes.
Okay.
Emergency crews were called to a Casey's General Store about 3 p.m. Wednesday after reports of a trespasser who wouldn't exit the bathroom. Witnesses said the man was holed up with his dog and ignoring demands to come out. When police arrived, they found him fully nude and actively touching himself. Officers ordered him to stop, but he was too horny. When they tried to arrest him, he fought back, reportedly trying to beat them off in the cramped space. Despite being tased twice, the man kept resisting. At one point in the middle of the struggle, he bit his dog on the ear and neck and wouldn't let go. It took multiple officers to finally subdue and cuff him, but not before one of the officers was bitten. Several others hurt during that takedown. The man was taken to a hospital for evaluation, and his dog, who suffered only minor injuries, is now in the care of the Lawrence Humane Society.
He bit his own dog. He bit quite a few other people.
It wouldn't let him go. Held on to that. That dog had nothing to do with it. That dog didn't want to watch him masturbate.
No. You ever masturbated in front of your pet?
No. I wouldn't do that.
I'd be uncomfortable.
I'd
feel weird about it.
Our relationship wouldn't be the same.
No, definitely
couldn't look him in the eye anymore.
I wouldn't want anybody to see that.
So you're saying that's not right?
No, well, it's not.
Different strokes for different folks?
Exactly.
Sure.
Not my job to judge others, but
sure.
For me personally and my pets, we try and avoid that.
That's a good stance to take, Josh.
Yesterday, I was petting one of the dogs, and he likes to sit on my lap. You know? And his wiener brushed against my bare leg. and it made me very uncomfortable.
Oh, I hate when something weird like that happens.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And I mentioned it to the group of folks there assembled at our household for Mother's Day, and somebody told me that I shouldn't share that information.
You just keep that one to yourself.
But I was disgusted.
I had to tell somebody. Josh, in that situation, just text me.
That would gross me out as well. But that's what you get for buying 2 dogs hung twice as good as you are.
Yeah, I know it's sad.
Yeah, those dogs are ridiculously big.
Well, you guys will be joining me at my house soon enough, and I'm sorry you're going to have to see that, but they're just out there, man. They're out there. They're giant.
I don't like it.
So you're saying wear shorts?
No, don't wear shorts. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers at a crossing in Texas seized 113 grams of fentanyl last week, buried deep within a 40-year-old vagina. Border Patrol officials, right in there. They said the pedestrian border crosser was detained Wednesday at the international crossing in El Paso. This is an exceptionally dangerous practice and could be lethal if the packaging were to fall during transport, said a spokesperson for El Paso CBP. It's best not to engage in smuggling activity, but especially in this form, it's risky on many levels, he said. According to federal officials, border agents selected the woman for a secondary exam just before 3 a.m. During the inspection, officials said the woman told officers she had a foreign object concealed in her opiate oyster. Agents took the woman.
Oyster?
Her opiate oyster, yes.
She volunteered this information?
She brought it up.
I wonder why.
I think they were on to her.
Okay.
Agents, or maybe she was actually nervous. Maybe she was nervous for what could happen.
Man, I really, really don't like oyster as a nickname for a vagina.
No,
I had worse.
Neither do I.
Really?
Yeah, I crossed out some worse ones.
Yeah, you had some other ideas?
This is what I did. I sent a bunch of ideas to a buddy of mine who's the foulest person I know.
Yeah.
And he laughed, and I thought I better tone it down.
Oh, God.
Agents took the woman to a medical facility where an exam confirmed the presence of a concealed object within the woman's delicate drug dumpster. And officials said that one I had worst, by the way. And officials said the package of drugs was carefully removed from her filthy fentanyl flap. The woman can now look forward to federal charges associated with the alleged smuggling act and hopefully a visit to the gyno as well.
Yeah, if that breaks loose on her, she's dead,
That's
right?
That's what the cops said.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be dead, lady. Do you understand?
Gosh, I cannot not be comfortable.
No, I bet she was walking a little different, a little addled. She was quite addled.
Probably glad to get that out of there, but she's in some trouble. St. Cloud police are zeroing in on a man they believe is behind a string of indecent exposure cases over the past year. In a press release Friday, the department said complaints have been coming in since last June, and as recently as this month, from women, that is, who say a man exposed himself while committing a lewd act. The perverse pattern is consistent. The suspect targets women who are walking, jogging, or simply standing outside. He pulls up in a vehicle, waves at them to come over, get their attention, then exposes himself from inside the car before the St. Cloud sex offender goes hands-on with his husky. Police said they've identified a person of interest, but are urging any additional victims to come forward.
Yeah, it's not right.
Yeah, it does make sense, though, given the city.
You expect something like that?
Seen some things in St. Cloud.
Brittany Fortenberry, the ex-educator accused of organizing student-involved gangbangs while the participants allegedly wore scream masks.
Oh, yeah, that's weirdo.
What? One more time with this. This is a teacher?
Well, yeah, she was a teacher. She had the gangbangs with students and made them all wear scream masks.
They're all nailing her.
Apparently so, yeah.
Unbelievable.
She's facing a stark new reality in jail, complete sexual isolation.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Sources familiar. I bet it's a porn and a weird
What is sexual isolation?
No conjugal visits. Kind of weird that. I mean, I didn't know that was actually really a thing.
No, neither did I.
I thought that was maybe a thing of the past.
Just in the movies, I thought.
Yeah. Sources familiar with her incarceration say that she's in solitary confinement with no access to conjugal visits, adult content, or any form of sexually explicit material. While she is allowed to read books and magazines, anything of a sexual nature is strictly off limits. Though she may still find ways to entertain herself.
Sure.
Any such activity will be strictly solo. Fortenberry has been charged with 29 felony counts, including some of the most disturbing offenses imaginable. If convicted on all charges, she could be sentenced to decades in prison.
That's probably good. That's where she belongs.
Perhaps she should.
I don't remember this. It sounds like you all are familiar with this.
Oh,
we
definitely.
talked about it.
Can't
Yeah,
forget something like this.
So she would wrangle all the high school guys to come over and just fold her in half until she couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, and they wear scream masks.
Scream masks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ghost face.
Interesting fetish.
It's different in a lot of ways. A 25-year-old Nebraska man has landed himself in jail after going to the dark side and attacking a neighbor and her 7-year-old daughter with a Star Wars lightsaber. Police say Aiden White first struck the little girl when she was playing in the front yard with friends. When the 37-year-old mother rushed over to confront him, White shouted, "I'm not in the mood. Get back in your effing house," before charging the woman, lightsaber in hand.
He's not in the mood.
No. Hey, I'm trying to beat a 7-year-old over here. Then he hits the mom in the arm with the lightsaber.
Okay, well, good.
2 neighbors witnessed the nerd rage and confirmed he used a, quote, high-quality lightsaber, about 3.5 feet long, made of metal and thick plastic.
Oh.
Not as clumsy or random as a blaster, an elegant weapon for a more civilized age, which police said was more than enough to cause some cosplay carnage.
What is it? Your father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster. An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
White later admitted to the assault, calling his actions unacceptable and saying he wanted to apologize. Still, during questioning, his temper flared again. He launched into profanity-laced rants, bizarrely claiming the victims are the ones to blame for his rising rent because they like to keep the thermostat too high. And then he even hinted at more trouble to come.
Uh-oh.
The lightsaber has since been confiscated as evidence.
The guy's going to get his saber back? It sounded like he had a nice one, too, not one of those cheap plastic ones.
I'd imagine the cops are probably messing around with that.
Oh, yeah, they are.
I enjoy how volatile you made this man out to be. He was apologizing for a while, then he launched into a tirade with swear words. I could only hold it for so long.
I wonder if it's one of those where he thought, I better apologize here to keep myself out of trouble, but then the rage kicked in.
He can't hold it down.
Who needs a thermostat at 74 degrees?
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. Didn't mean that.
To each their own.
Mm-hmm.
Today is Culver's 10% Day of Giving, where participating Minnesota and Wisconsin locations will donate 10% of sales to the Randy Shaver Cancer Research and Community Fund. Culver's will also be rounding up sales through the 25th to keep the support going strong. For participating Culver's location near you, check out 93x.com. And Big Boar Barbecue in Hanover is bringing back ribs for Randy for another year. Stop in this month for ribs, a side, and pickles for just $20. $5 of each sale goes to the Randy Shaver Cancer Research and Community Fund.
Guess what handsome sumbitch and his wife went to Big Boar yesterday and got the shaver showdown.
Was it that guy?
This peckerhead right here, this sumbitch.
Rami Malek, 44 today. Tony Hawk, 57. Emilio Estevez, 63. Ving Rhames, 66. Billy Squire, 75. I want to pass along our thoughts to Chris, injured in an accident on Friday. Metal hand finishing Jesus. Let us know they could use some love at this time. So wishing you a full, speedy recovery, Chris. Get well soon. The crew at Hoffman Weber Construction texting a shout-out to Roofing Mother Mary and Big Dylan B. Type 1 Cop Jesus shouting out Squad 713. The old girl's getting retired today, he said. Happy birthday to the gorgeous Sassmaster Jesus from Holland Your Wood, Jesus and family. And that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
Never had a grown man send me so many pictures with his shirt off.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Back to Edwards. Another try. That one's good. Anthony Edwards with 34.
What changed in the second half for you? Nothing changed. I took my same shots. I just didn't lose confidence. You got to have confidence at an all-time high.
And every game is the most important one for us right now. So this is a huge one. We weather the storm. Try to get one more before we go home.
Here's old Randy Shaver and F and Brad Ryder. What's up, dudes?
F and Brad Ryder.
Good morning.
That doesn't mean anything, Randy Shaver.
Brad was confused.
Yeah, I was a little bit. Like I've never been called that before.
I call you F and Brad Ryder or Brad F and Ryder almost every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or Dinkus. You call him
sometimes
Dinkus.
Dinkus. If I can't think of your name, sometimes I'll call you Dinkus.
He calls a lot of people Dinkus.
Just because I throw a swear word in front of your name doesn't mean anything bad, right, Ashley?
I think it's cool.
Yeah, Ashley knows I'm cool.
I think I'm going to put that on my business card.
Oh, you sound so old right there.
Yeah, really.
Hey, Randy Shaver, you make a good plate of ribs over there at the Big Boar.
Thank you.
Yeah. Stop by and I got the Shaver Showdown yesterday at the Big Boar out in Hangover.
You mean the ribs for Randy?
Ribs for Randy, and it was $5 from every meal goes towards your cancer. Oh, that was delicious.
That place slaps.
Yeah, it's a wonderful joint out there.
Yes, it is. I like that place a lot.
And today's the Culver's. Josh was just telling us today's the Culver's Day of Giving.
That's correct. All participating Culvers will give back 10% of their proceeds today to our cancer research fund. So
this is a big one for you. They're a big partner for you, aren't they?
They are. They're huge, and they've been with us for a long time. And this is the big day. This is the day they raise a ton of dough for Minnesota's cancer community. So if you haven't made any plans for lunch or dinner today, why not go there twice?
I'll be there. Quick reminder to my wife, who has the Culvers right by her school: do the right thing on the way home.
Don't you go there an egregious amount, Randy?
Why doesn't school the entire day?
Yeah, I was going to say, why doesn't she take her class over there?
Yeah, there you go.
Bunch of second graders at Culver's on short notice. What could possibly go wrong?
If I had any friends, I'd bring them to lunch today at Culver's. I'll just be going solo.
Randy, don't you go there like 3-4 times a week or something crazy?
I do, actually, yes. I seriously
I love that.
I do get a kick out of those Minnesota sports athlete number photos that you tweet out, Randy. Those are fun.
Yeah, it's become quite a thing on social. I get people sending me their numbers and asking me what I think for players.
Oh yeah, I've done that to you.
Yeah, I was there recently, Randy, for something else, and I got 12, and I was like, well, of course, it's Tony Leva, no question.
Who?
But
12,
you should explain it.
Oh gosh, sorry, I messed
Oliva
up.
was 6.
6, that's what I meant to say.
He meant 2 Olivas standing next to each other.
Yeah.
Randy, can you explain that for folks that might not understand the difference?
Well, every time I get a Culver's number, as I wait in line to get my food, they'll give you a number, right? And they'll put it on your, car
Side
window
mirror.
or whatever, side mirror or whatever. And one day I just decided, you know what? I'm going to find an athlete that corresponds with that and just make a post. And I started doing that about 2 years ago, and the thing just kind of took off. And now like I said, I get people from everywhere who will stop at Culver's. They get their number, and then they try to figure out who the athlete should be.
Name as many pro athletes who wore that number, kind of a thing?
Nick used to do that with phone numbers. If I needed a phone number, he would just give out jersey numbers.
To try to memorize it, you mean? Yeah.
No, just that's how he would communicate long numbers.
Right.
He would go
If
through
the
different
last
players.
4 digits were, 8763, I'd say Leo Lewis, Kirk Loudermilk.
Sure.
And Josh would have to try to figure out, Leo Lewis was 87 and Kirk was that his name, Kirk, who was a center for the Vikings?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or we'd do hockey players, baseball players. So what were you saying about Tony Oliva? Was that a mistake on your part?
Yes.
Dana?
I said 12 instead of 6.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Maybe I wonder if that could be some kind of a sports fan psychological test. You give that person a number and they tell you the first athlete that comes to mind.
How about this? Let's say you go through Culver's, they put that sticker on your mirror, Nick, with a number. What number would you be most disappointed of because it reminds you of a player? Like number 8?
That's 8.
Yeah.
8 makes me think of Cal Ripken Jr., Alex Ovechkin, Gary Gaetti. But why were you thinking 8?
I was just throwing out a number.
I'll tell you, that's a good question. It will be 23 because it reminds me of Jordan. Every time I see 23, I have to think. Everyone thinks Michael Jordan, and I get sickened at the thought of Michael Jordan because he's one of the biggest dildos to ever live. Go ahead, throw some numbers my way. I'll tell you where the first athlete that comes to mind.
42.
DJ Dozier. I have no idea why, but I came up with DJ Dozier, former running back for the Vikings. Yes, go ahead. Anyone?
41.
I'm still thinking Vikings, and it makes me think of Neil Gugamos. Wow. But if I was thinking the Wild, I would say Martin Skula. Go ahead.
What about number 9?
Mike Modano.
Yeah.
Mike Modano, easy.
Figured that one.
62.
62 is not a common call out, but I'll go with Jeff Christie.
Yep, center.
Yeah.
Vikings.
94.
94. Wow.
No,
Go ahead, Randy Shaver. That's also an odd one. There's not a lot of 94s, memorable 94s.
I want to say like a Strather or whatever. What was the guy's name?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I'd have to look that one up.
No, I don't have an answer for 94.
Yeah, I'd have to Google that one.
Not a long list of prominent players.
Oh, you're sleeping on Charles Haley, man. Come on.
Well, Charles Haley did win, 5 or 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
but I understand he was one of the most disgusting people that has ever lived.
Oh.
You ever hear the stories about Charles Haley?
No. I don't want to.
Yeah, I read a book about the 90s Cowboys once. They weren't the best people.
Yeah, you might not want to hear many stories about Charles Haley. I'll tell you one that I heard. He would walk up in the locker room like with new teammates when he was playing for whoever. He won a bunch of Super Bowls with the 49ers, with the Cowboys. He would walk up on new guys in the locker room and rest his penis on their shoulder without asking.
Oh, I don't like that.
No.
He called the parrot.
They call that what?
The parrot.
There's a name for it?
Yep.
Oh, my God.
I mean, impressive you can do that, but gross.
They call that the parrot, she says.
And so nonchalantly you said that. You mean the parrot? Yeah.
Did you go see one of those puppetry of the penis shows or something?
Oh, we've seen that before.
I didn't.
No, thank you.
I didn't see it. I refused to watch. We had them in studio 25 years ago. And they said, okay, we're going to do our puppetry of the penis gimmick. And I said, well, go ahead, because I'm going to be looking at my shoes. I had no. Once they described what they were going to do, I said, I'm not watching this.
No.
All right. A lot of folks are saying Pat Williams, big giant Pat Williams wore 94 for the Minnesota Vikings. Sorry, he did not come to mind. All right. Get a nap today if you can. The Wolves and Warriors begin Game 4 of this bizarre series somewhere around 9 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
Anyone else been getting a weird vibe from this series from the get-go?
Definitely.
It's just weird.
It doesn't feel like the caliber of basketball you would watch in a Western Conference semifinal.
That's the best way someone could possibly put it. It does not feel or look to be the caliber of basketball. And Edwards scores 36 in Game 3. It felt more to me like he scored 18 or 19.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying too. Yep.
They just haven't played well.
No,
but they're not going to need to play well. That's kind of been my point all along. They're still going to win.
Well, yeah, so far.
And the caliber of basketball thing too, especially if you've been paying attention to some of the other series. You know, it just looks so much more, polished or intense.
The thing is, if the Wolves make it through this series, and Brad Rader has full confidence that they will, if the Wolves make it through this series and they end up playing, of course they'll play either Oklahoma City or Denver, I bet the finals in those games will be like 140 to 138. But Golden State's defense, well, it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I think it'll be much more polished, free-flowing basketball because Golden State really is a terrific defensive team, and they really are giving the Wolves trouble to where they have to win these games in a bit of an ugly fashion.
Well, that's the only way the Wolves, or Golden State rather, is going to win a game is through their defense. I mean, offensively, they've gotten some really good game. Well, last game, obviously, Jimmy Butler decided he was going to shoot more, which kept them in the game.
Right.
And they got a great game off the bench from Kuminga. But other than that, they're not getting consistent scoring. And the Wolves it took a while. It took till the fourth quarter in Game 3 for them to actually light it up and play the way they're capable.
A little bit.
Yeah, Golden State isn't shooting the ball horribly. I think they shot almost 50% from three-point range, but they don't take a lot of them. And the Wolves are still turning the ball over more than Golden State, too, and they're still winning. So when the Wolves just play that one really good game of the series, they're going to win by a lot. And that's why I don't think on paper Golden State can match up.
Wolves win tonight. It's over because if the Wolves win tonight, they host home court 2 of the last 3. I sound like a broken record. I'm not concerned.
We get it, Brad Ryder. We get it. But until as long as that Stephen Curry guy is breathing, I'm not going to call anything over.
But if they're down 3-1 I just don't know if he's enough to get them over the hump.
I know. You are very likely correct about that, Randy Shaver. I'm just not going to say a damn thing.
And I don't think he's even going to be reevaluated until after Game 5, if I'm reading what I'm
I think the morning of Game 5.
They said Wednesday.
The morning of Game 5 is when he's going to be reevaluated.
And if they're down 3-1, is he really going to rush it, at this point?
I don't friggin' know.
I don't think he's going to rush it at all. I don't think it really depends on where the series is at that point.
You're rubbing off on me pretty hard, Nick, though, because I hate Steph Curry. I'm starting to really hate him. Every time the camera goes to him, I'm like, who cares?
Right.
Also,
he's a terrible person.
This might be dumb, but why is he standing up so much?
So
he has a hamstring issue?
He wants to be on the camera.
Like, wouldn't it be better to be sitting? I feel like he's
always better to be sitting.
He needs to be noticed, Ashley.
He invented the parrot.
Oh, my God.
He is the originator.
He did not.
And
you can't prove that, Randy.
You mentioned Jimmy Bottles now. And, yeah, he had, 4 points in Game 3? But where was he in the last 3 minutes? You didn't hear a word about him in the last 3 minutes.
Fourth quarter?
Yeah.
I don't know if he even scored in the last 8 minutes of the fourth quarter.
They doubled him a lot in the fourth quarter.
Good. Double him until he can't stand it. And, again, Edwards scored 36, felt more like 18 or 19. He still just seems off to me. He seems erratic to me. And maybe erratic is a word to describe the whole series so far.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would say erratic. He just seems like he never really shook off the rust of those 5 days off, and the injury doesn't help him. I think that he just doesn't look 100%.
What injury?
The ankle injuries.
Oh, I didn't believe a word of that in the first place.
No, I think there's something to that, but I just don't think that he's looked like 100%. And Golden State's defense has something to do with that too. So
not much flow, kind of sloppy, but whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Most folks would say, like Randy just did, if the Wolves can get this one tonight, Curry or not, 3-1 is an awful tough hill to climb.
Because 2 of the next 3 are at Target Center.
Yeah, where the Wolves were dominant this season. Where's my sarcasm?
Jonathan Kuminga is not going to score 30 points tonight either. So, I mean, they're surviving a lot of things that aren't supposed to happen here.
Jonathan Kuminga. That's funny. All right. Here's a stat I found, Summers, in the history now of Timberwolves basketball. With Anthony Edwards, they've won 18 playoff games in 5 seasons. Before Anthony Edwards, they won 18 playoff games in 31 seasons.
Oh, my God.
Well,
that's crazy.
I know, it's kind of unfair, but whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of unfair.
It's silly. It's kind of silly. Okay, I saw a couple of websites yesterday making a big deal out of this Draymond Green at the end of Game 3 gimmick. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. You're talking about where he was out of the game, you mean?
Yes.
Fouled out?
Talking about the spread?
He had been fouled out of the game. I mean, I don't know what to make of this, so you guys tell me. He had fouled out of the game. He's on the bench. He also refused to sit down, which Josh is adamantly against. A friend of mine used to say, why stand up when you can sit down and why sit down when you can lie down?
Yep.
Anyway, Green is still standing after he's been fouled out of the game, and he's shouting to his teammates about the point spread. He kept shouting to his teammates that the point spread was 5.5 points. And then on the following possession with 15 seconds left, the Warriors hit a three-pointer to cut the lead to 5 to cover. So I don't care nor know what to make of this, but there are a few people saying, oh, the game is rigged and this should be investigated.
That's a little weird.
I didn't even understand that's what he was doing. I don't. Maybe it's just one of those things where people didn't believe that they were good enough to stay within 5 points in Game 3 or something. I don't know.
I don't know, and I really don't care.
I don't think it has anything to do with betting and anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Boy, I wonder how...
Those are the times where it would be entertaining to be in a sports book, though, right, Randy?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, for sure. I mean, these games have been,
You got
Really
thousands of dollars changing hands on that last shot.
There's nothing funnier when it's like a 17-point game and somebody hits a 3-pointer and grown men are jumping up and down crying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know what to make of it from the get-go, but if you guys are going to blow it off, then I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I just don't think it's that thing.
Why stand up when you can sit down, and why sit down when you can lie down? Years ago, we were at a keg party, and God, I can't believe I did this voluntarily. We went to Bloomington, Minnesota, Josh.
Sure, I've been there many times.
Voluntarily, we left the comfortable confines of the West Metro, Wayzata specifically, and went to Bloomington for a keg party. Stupid, but we were young. Big Al had a few before we even went to the party, right? And he wasn't too steady on his feet. You know, it was such a big house party that Big Al and the rest of us, when we got there, we had to kind of stand and drink our beer. Oh. Big Al walked over to this couch full of guys. Didn't know any of them. They're all sitting on the couch. And he just kind of hovered there for a while, Big Al did. And finally, one of the guys on the couch said, "What's up, dude?" And Big Al said, "You know, if you guys would move from the couch, I could lay down."
I respect that.
Yeah, what a pro move.
Yeah. And they didn't go along with it.
They didn't?
But it was worth.
Big Al's the type of guy that would get up so someone can lay down.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the nicest people I've ever met.
He ran that idea by the boys, and they weren't interested. So how do you think that couple ended up there?
Oh, man.
Game 3.
What was going on there?
They consummated that relationship on the way home, I think.
I kept looking at that woman because she's in like the bright blue shirt, so she kept catching my eye.
She got some that night.
Yeah, she's not sticking her tongue down this guy's throat.
Do you know what we're talking about, Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder?
I don't.
No.
During Game 3, I noticed it. Me and the wife noticed it when we were watching Game 3 Saturday night. There was just your typical scene from the ball game. I think a stupid Jimmy Butler was dribbling the ball up court, thinking about how he's going to, burn all of his bridges in San Francisco in due time. He's dribbling the ball up court, and in the background, there was this couple just wildly making out in their seats.
Yeah, they didn't care about the game at all. I don't even know if they knew they were at a game.
Yeah, and they cut back to the game, and they were never acknowledged again, as far as I remember from Saturday night. But a lot of internet people were talking about this couple just wildly sucking face during the ball game.
So much PDA.
Yeah.
Makes me uncomfortable.
I'm with you. I don't really like that kind of
I bet they did it before they even got to the car.
Oh, you think really?
Oh, yeah.
Right outside the venue.
They probably found a dark corner of the parking lot or something.
Yeah, they were in their own world, that's for sure.
None of us are big PDA people, are we?
No.
No tongue in public.
No tongue in public?
It's good to have a code, Ashley.
Randy Shaver, you and your wife, you guys get fresh sometimes, in the middle of a dinner or something in front of everybody?
Are you serious?
What?
Are you seriously asking me that right now?
How do you guys feel about hand holding? Are you comfortable? Hand holding, is that a thing that you're comfortable with?
Hand holding, yes.
Yeah,
I can do
nice.
that, yes.
I mean, I'm honestly not the biggest fan of hand holding just because my hands get so sweaty.
Yeah. You sweat a lot.
Yeah.
Josh, at times I get hand-holdy and arm-aroundy with my wife in public just because I know she doesn't like it very much.
I love that.
That went a different direction than I thought it was going to go.
Yeah, so I'll sometimes, especially every once in a while, you see that couple at the state fair who have to walk while connected at the genitals.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes like the hand in the back pocket.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
But it's even worse than that. Like, I'm talking like they're basically gear to gear and still trying to make their way around.
Yep.
For whatever reason, the state fair is where I see this, where I'm sure if I spent more time at the mall, I'd probably see. But that's where I normally see it at the fair. So every once in a while, I will do that to my wife and try to get her to go along with it for as long as possible, even though it's uncomfortable.
I do the same thing.
What is it? Are those the kind of people that are just so insecure that they they need to,
or very new in a relationship, perhaps?
They need to show you. Like, they need to announce, "Look, I'm getting laid." I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm getting laid.
Every time. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You go ahead, Ash.
Every time I see that, I'm like, all right, we get it. We get it. That's your girl. Nobody wants her. It's okay, bud. You don't have to hold her the whole time.
Just the other day, my wife and I saw something like that, and she's like, well, that's obviously a new relationship. That's what she'll bring up anytime that there's some public affection.
Okay, so none of us are big on the PDA because we're not 16 anymore, right?
Unless I've had a little bit too much to drink. Then things get a little iffy.
You get fresh when you've had too many cocktails.
Yeah, I've done it twice, and I'll never forget. I still am embarrassed by those moments.
Okay, and that's where I was going with this. But each of us, despite being against PDA, we've been that couple at least once, right?
But I was a young man and very intoxicated both times.
No, I understand. Most of the time, it's when you're very intoxicated.
And one was at the Mermaid in Mounds View, so that doesn't even count.
No, that's fair game there.
That doesn't count.
Kind of international waters, kind of.
Pretty much, no rules apply.
Randy and Brad, you guys, you at least had that moment once or twice.
Oh, I've had one. Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us?
Maybe in the 80s.
In the 80s.
Yep.
Can you tell us about it, Randy?
It was actually in the 70s.
It's in the 70s.
I was a college freshman. Spending the evening on ladies' night at the Alibi.
Word.
And not a good, well, I shouldn't say not a good finish, but it was, I got thrown out of the bar along with the girl. We both got thrown out of the bar for too much PDA. Yes.
Oh, I thought of a third one.
How hang on a sec, Josh. How far had you gone to get from?
Well, hands were probably in places they shouldn't be.
Randy got a handy. Randy got a handy. Woo!
I think it was also
stand-up triple for Randy.
Stand-up triple.
I want to say it was also quarter pitcher night.
Okay.
Oh, then that's not your
Wow.
A quarter.
What?
That's right.
That's right.
Yes.
That's dangerous.
You have no control at that point.
Pitcher night.
You were saying, Josh?
Tell me what's more embarrassing. So I'm still embarrassed by these moments. The PDA, this was at a concert. So what's more embarrassing, the fact that I was wildly making out with my girlfriend at the time, or that it was at a Nelly Furtado show? The third time, and how could I forget? You know why? Because
you did this a lot.
Well, it's 3 times in my entire life. I'm an old man at this point, and all when I was young. The third time,
and intoxicated.
And yeah, true. I'm not embarrassed by this at all. The third time involved my best friend in the whole world's sister, and it was at First Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
That was the third time.
Yeah, I think I was there, wasn't I?
You were, yeah. We were there together.
Josh, you started telling that story about, you were drunk at a concert making out with your girlfriend, and I was waiting to hear what artist or band it was.
You're thinking Megadeth, back when Marty was in the band?
Well, when you said Nelly, I was like, oh, cool, Nelly, Country Grammar. Yeah, that's one of the coolest rappers ever. Then you dropped the Furtado, and I'm like, oh, that's a whole different story.
No. Yeah, it's Furtado.
Yeah, you and your significant other could fist each other in public all night long, Josh, while I'm present, and it wouldn't bother me as much as knowing you went to a Nelly Furtado. What the?
I know we've brought this up many times.
It just sounds so awful.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest show. I didn't go it wasn't for me. But I know we brought this up many, many times, but I told you because I was a little worried that you'd be upset. And I'm like, hey, I kind of made out with your sister, and I went for second base there at First Avenue.
Yeah.
And you had a great line in case nobody's ever heard it.
Yeah, you said something about second base.
And I felt really bad.
And that was the end of the story. And I said, well, Jesus, I don't know anybody who had to stop at second base with my sister. What the hell's the matter with you?
No stop signs up on that one.
Never closed the deal on that one.
Nelly Furtado.
By the way, everyone agrees that the Nelly Furtado part is the embarrassing thing.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh,
100%.
That's the detail I should be the most embarrassed.
Good for you, Randy, on nickel pitcher night back at the Alibi.
Quarter pitcher night.
Quarter pickle dickle night.
Yeah, and I think
nickel dickle days, Waconia.
You mentioned Bloomington. I think anything that ever happened at a Bennigan's, that also does it. It's always 3 for 1. Happy hours all day long.
Oh, yeah.
There was Murderers Row down there in Bloomington back in the old days.
Boy, you're not kidding.
All of us
there were
have.
some really crazy places to go.
Bloomington?
Oh, yeah.
Never liked going there.
When the mall was wild with all those bars.
Stories from the old Thunderbird back in the day.
Oh,
Thunderbird.
There's a lot of cocaine at the Thunderbird.
Heck yeah.
So, it's happened to each and every one of us, especially when you're young and you had a few drinks. You guys know my story about the clown makeup.
Gosh, that is so ridiculous.
Man, St. Cloud.
The way I would have injured somebody.
St. Cloud. Oh, no, not that clown You're thinking of a different story.
Oh, okay.
At St. Cloud State, I walked me and my buddy Paco. God dang. I don't see Paco very much anymore. He's good stuff. Paco, if you're listening, what's going on? Paco and I went to this house party, just the two of us at St. Cloud State. And I don't know what happened, but this gal thought I was friggin' cute. And as soon as I walked in, almost, she and I were just mauling each other at this party. I was hammered off my ass. That normally wouldn't be something that I would do. But we would make out a little while, and then, hey, what's your name, kind of a thing. We were taking breaks. And as I would look around, everyone's looking at me and laughing. And I thought, well, she's not that bad looking, right? Is it me? I couldn't figure out. So we'd make out for a while, then I'd look around the room a little bit and notice now the whole house party's staring at me and laughing. And so I say to this young lady, excuse me for a minute, and I walk over to Paco, and I say, Paco, what the hell's everyone laughing at me for? And he said, go look in the mirror. I went into the bathroom, looked in the mirror. What I didn't realize is this gal had so much lipstick on that my face was just covered in lipstick. I looked like the serial killer guy who kind of smears it all over his face,
Sure,
in the movies.
Yep.
It was so friggin' I had to immediately laugh at myself when I saw my condition.
That's all you can do at that point.
All right. We're still talking hoops. And speaking of, action, Kevin Durant, the Durantula, who will very likely be a member of the Timberwolves roster next season.
Brad's excited about that.
No.
Oh, yeah.
He's apparently a simple man. For one reason or another, the Durantula told social media a day or two ago, evil social media, he told them there's only 3 things that he's ever wanted out of life. And those three things are money, buckets, and girls.
Can't argue with that list.
We know he's acquired plenty of the first 2 things. And despite the fact that he looks like a malnourished 78-year-old man, I'm guessing he has little trouble getting his hands on the third part of that list.
I think he probably just spoke for 75% of the NBA. So,
if not more, yeah.
Money, buckets, and girls.
Well, there's rumors he was dating your girl Angel Reese for a while.
He was dating who?
Oh,
Angel
yeah.
Reese.
I remember that.
Oh, the greatest ladies basketball player in the world?
They have Angel Reese basketballs at Target. I thought of you yesterday, Nick, when I saw one.
Well, she's my favorite. Mm-hmm. Do you guys agree that Kevin Durant, despite being, 36 years old, looks malnourished and 78 years old?
He looks way older than 36.
I guess I haven't seen a picture of him in a
think
while.
if you looked at a picture and had to guess his age, you wouldn't guess in his 30s.
Yeah, especially if he wasn't wearing a basketball uniform.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. He did not look like he's in his 30s.
He's just a skinny dude. It's like, have a sandwich, man.
The Thunder Nugget series is knotted up at 2 wins apiece. Oklahoma City won by 5 yesterday. The Indiana Pacers are 1 win away from the Eastern Conference Final. They beat the living daylights out of Cleveland last night.
How about that?
The
Wow.
Pacers are leading that series 3-1. Randy Shaver declares 3-1 series as over.
Well, the only difference is that Cleveland series, they would be playing in Cleveland 2 of the last 3. So
Okay.
can't really quite say that for that series.
Celtics.
But Cleveland has not looked good in that series.
No, they have not. They looked so incredible during at least from what I saw out of the Cleveland Cavaliers in the regular season. They were just absolutely like a video game.
the only guy who's really brought anything is Donovan Mitchell.
They're banged up. They've had some injury issues in the postseason.
Yeah.
It's not helped them.
Celtics-Knicks game 4 tonight before the Timberwolves play their game in New York City. 2-1 Knickerbockers. The most expensive ticket for the Celtics-Knicks game this past Saturday at Madison Square Garden, so that was game 3.
Right.
The most expensive ticket for this past Saturday's Celtics-Knicks game was $98,791.
What?
Apparently, that's a true story.
That's insane.
$98,791 to go and watch a basketball game in person.
And see your team lose. I'm assuming it was a Knicks fan that sprung for the cash.
The 8th graders and social media dorks all agreed that for that amount of money, that fan should have been allowed to play in the game.
Yep.
They really should have allowed to start in that ball game and put in 27, 30 minutes, something like that.
At least be the guy waving the towel at the end of the bench.
Another series sweep for the Twins, this time over the San Francisco Giants. They win yesterday 7-6, and now they won 8 in a row.
Yeah. They're back over 500 now.
Mm-hmm.
And every team in the division has also won about 8 in a row.
Right. Well, every team in the division lost the last couple, so they're back to only 5 back now, I think.
Yep.
Here's an interesting. Sorry to go back to Kevin Durant real quick, but now I'm gonna have to look at some pictures. An interesting. What's the word I'm looking for here, Josh?
Direction. Observation.
That's exactly right. Nice. Thank you, Ashley. An interesting observation from Brewers and High Life Jesus. He says Kevin Durant doesn't have calf muscles.
He doesn't.
All right, let me check that out. Now I'm
Just
curious.
a twig?
Yeah, how does he do that without calf muscles?
Yeah, Josh, you should invite Kevin Durant to your off-season training program for your calves, because yours are just jacked.
Oh, is he just one of those guys? Oh, yeah, he does have skinny.
Was he born without calf muscles?
Oh, he's one of those dudes that just has skinny ankles. So even if he were to beef up his legs, it still wouldn't look right because you can't really beef up your ankles.
Were his calf muscles, were they removed?
He might have.
All right, yeah, the Twins.
His whole, all of his entire lower body is quite svelte.
He's just a thin guy.
Well, here's something I noticed too, and the same goes for that Chet Holmgren dude. His shoulders are way too narrow for the rest of his body. Way too narrow.
Yep.
Should have broader. Okay, Twins beat the Giants in extras. A young kid by the name of Deshaun Kiersey Jr. singled home the winning run in the 10th inning. Royce Lewis did snap an 0 for 36 streak. Now, that dates back to last season. He got an RBI single that tied the game in the 6th. Pablo, he didn't do all that great, but the Twins were resilient yesterday. They open a 3-game series in Baltimore tomorrow night.
Chris Paddock had a nice start over the weekend.
Right.
Yep.
Was that Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friday. Had a perfect game going into the 6th or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Things are looking good for the Twins. Like we said with Glenn, we'll talk to Glenn Perkins tomorrow. We all agreed a month
He'll be happy.
Yeah. We all agreed a month and a half ago, this team finally wakes up when the weather warms up. That's just how it works every friggin' year. Every year.
Yeah, true.
So there you go. Yesterday was Mother's Day. Josh Young is how you say it. Josh Young, Texas Rangers third baseman. Okay. He delivered a special Mother's Day gift to his moms, a gal by the name of Mary. So Josh Young, playing for the Rangers, hit a 2-run homer in the 5th inning yesterday while his brother Jace was in the field playing third base for the Detroit Tigers, and Mamo was in the stands.
And a swing, and that's a drive left field. It is gone! Happy Mother's Day! Mrs. Young in attendance and sees older son Josh Young go deep to left field.
I mean, my heart is just exploding. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better Mother's Day gift to watch them live their dream, do what they love to do. Like, I couldn't be more proud.
It was pretty cool to have the whole family in the ballpark. I was playing against each other. Hit a homer was awesome.
All right.
That is really sweet.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't hit a home run for my mom yesterday in a Major League Baseball game. I kind of feel like I let her down.
Yeah, you suck.
You've done that before, though. Let her down.
That's a good point.
She's used to it.
Yeah, the bar has been set.
That doesn't just happen on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
I don't know who keeps an eye on these things, but here it is. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, this Josh Young home run was the first home run by a player facing his brother's team on Mother's Day.
Isn't it incredible? The stats?
It's one guy's job every Mother's Day to monitor that stat.
Stop printing that material. Colorado Rockies fired their manager. They gassed Bud Black yesterday, one day after losing by 21 runs to the San Diego Padres. Saturday, they lost 21-0, I think was the final.
That's a Little League score right there.
They don't even let it get that bad.
Being 7-33 might have something to do with it.
Yeah, they're off to a terrible.
Pretty bad, man. Pretty bad.
They also fired their bench coach, a recognizable name around here, former Twin and the innovator of a game we learned about on the radio years ago. They fired their bench coach. former twin and also the innovator of fart bottle roulette, Mike Redman.
Oh, gross.
Oh.
Was also fired by the Cowboys.
And naked batting practice.
Yeah, naked guy.
Yeah, the fart bottle roulette, though, I'll never forget that. That is so gross. And you have too much downtime.
The more we hear about Mike Redman, the less I like about him, to be totally honest.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
He seems like a pretty funny guy.
No,
he cracks me up.
That's one of the more unique things I think I've ever seen in my time working in sports. Is the old Metrodome walking up those stairs to go up to the Twins clubhouse, where Andy knows well.
Oh, it's a marathon, those stairs.
And walking down the stairs was Mike Redman, completely naked, other than socks and baseball shoes, and he was going to take that.
Took the time to put his shoes and socks on.
What that is that's indecent exposure is what it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you get fired a lot of times.
Yeah.
For
What time of day was that, Brad?
What kind of day was that?
No, what time? What time of day?
Oh, what time of day? It was about 4 o'clock.
How many people were looking?
There had to be a lot
too
of
many.
people.
It was before fans got let in, though.
Well, of course it was before fans.
Before media. Yeah, it was before media showed up.
How many people were looking?
Oh,
There had to be
10.
people working in the stadium.
That's indecent exposure.
Yeah.
So weird.
So we feel bad. I don't know. Maybe we don't feel any or don't care at all about Bud Black being fired. The Padres. No, the Rockies are off to one of the worst starts ever. They have the worst 40-game start since the 1988 Baltimore Orioles, who were 6-34. The Padres did win. I keep screwing this up. The Rockies did win yesterday, but still they fired Bud Black. Oh, by the way, when they lost 21-0 at home to the Padres, there was a 12, 13-year-old Rockies fan in the ballpark holding up a sign that said, "My arm is rested if needed."
Smart ass.
Yeah.
A minor league pitcher in the New York Mets system was removed from a game Saturday despite being 1 out away from throwing a perfect game.
Tong is at 99 pitches, and they're going to make the call to the bullpen. Tong will depart, much to the dismay of this crowd, hoping to witness a perfect game thrown exclusively by him.
Why would they do that?
That's crazy.
But you need to know some details here. It was a doubleheader, so he was only going for a 7-inning perfect game. If that matters at all to you, I don't know.
All right.
They were under strict rules not to throw this kid 100 pitches. He got to 99. They yanked him. They didn't give a rat's ass what the situation was. The kid was pissed. He was pissed.
Sure.
That seems silly to me. But
yes,
that's
silly.
That's how they work these days with the pitch count.
I didn't know it was 7 innings, though. It's kind of...
Yeah.
It diminishes a little
bit different. Jonah Tong is the kid's name. He's pitches for the Birmingham, whatever, Rumble Ponies.
Oh, the Ponies, huh?
Struck out 13 of the 20 batters he faced. They yanked him. That's how it goes. Stanley Cup playoff. Dallas over Winnipeg yesterday, so it's 2-1 Stars in that series. Florida, Toronto tied at 2 wins each. Final score last night was 2-0 Panther. Tonight, Capitals, Canes, Golden Knights, Oilers. The Frost, the women's team in town, won yesterday. So they're up 2-1 in their best of 5 PWHL playoff semifinal with Toronto. They'll play Game 4 Wednesday at the X. And by damn, as we mentioned earlier, Sabu died. Legendary hardcore wrestler Sabu, otherwise known. Well, his real name was Terry Brunk. Really? His real name was Terry Brunk?
I guess I didn't know that.
And one of his arch rivals was Terry Funk.
Weird.
Okay.
Obviously, I never knew Sabu's real name until today. It just dawned on me that when he and Terry Funk would tear the flesh off of each other until they nearly bled to death for 300 people in a wrestling audience, it was Terry Brunk versus Terry Funk.
That's interesting, yeah. When those two got together, there were no folding chairs, tables, or barbed wire left in the arena after that.
Mm-hmm.
Sabu! Put that monitor! Oh, my God! And Sabu just hit C in the face with a television monitor. Oh, my God, no, don't do this! Sabu on the top rope! No!
He jumped a car off the top rope. It landed on Cena. Cena was killed. A listener said, look up the barbed wire match he had with Terry Funk in 1997. They had to be cut apart after the match because they were so tangled up with barbed wire. Those guys were so friggin' nuts. Late 90s wrestling was legitimately disgusting.
The old school ECW before it got merged with WWE was just fantastic. They used to sell those tapes on infomercials late at night.
It was disgusting.
It was.
In a lot of ways, but so entertaining. Now, this guy died at only 60 years old, and there's no cause of death. You know, I've watched many interviews with Sabu, and he seemed like a down-to-earth, good guy. I feel bad about all this. He just wrestled a couple months ago during WrestleMania weekend in Las Vegas. He wrestled Joey Janela, who's also completely insane. Joey Janela jumped off a building. He did, if I remember right, he did a flip off of a building in order to land in the bed of a pickup that was filled with fluorescent light bulbs.
Oh my God.
And like lacerated both of his kidneys and almost died. It's just
why?
Because that's what they do. That's what they did. They do what people tell them is impossible. They don't care about their well-being. Joey Janela has been insane for I got to try to find that video then. Sabu against Joey Janela at this year's WrestleMania weekend in Las Vegas. They called it was Joey Janela's Spring Break Part 9. I bet there were paramedics on scene for that. You guys, Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder, you didn't watch a lot of the hardcore stuff, did you?
No.
Yeah, you're right, though. Some of you got a little much for me. I was like, I'm kind of squeamish watching how much blood is pouring out of this guy's face right now.
Who was the guy that would allow the paper cuts and the webbing of his fingers? Remember that guy?
I tried to forget it. But.
You're a psycho for that.
He would open up his hand and allow someone to take a big, like 5-sheet seat. How do I say?
God, don't do that.
And just go zip.
No.
It's a common... How do you say it in the business, Josh? That's a common injury in this field of...
paper cuts?
Yes,
yeah.
we get a lot of them around. Hurts.
We have paper cut insurance around here. You nearly died the one time. You mentioned it many times before.
She was a deep one. That is a very deep cut, I said, at the bar. I was showing it off to the ladies. You know.
Of course.
There you go, Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
I think we're all
covered it all.
We're all planning on going to Culver's today to help you out.
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Right after this.
I'll probably be going there twice today. So
it sounds like a good meal to fall asleep to.
Yes.
Couple of butter burgers.
Yes.
Do they call it
Some frozen custard.
Cement mix, whatever they're called.
It's the perfect recipe.
All right, boys, have a good one.
All right.
We'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll be back here in a few minutes on the program.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
Actor Michael Rosenbaum. He knows some of the most talented people in the business.
Let's get inside of Jack Osborne.
Bands would say Black Sabbath was a huge influence.
And thank God you liked it, boy.
Yeah.
Elijah Wood.
Peter gets on the phone. Elijah, would you like to play the role of Frodo?
Did you cry?
Probably screamed at the top of my lungs.
You play iconic characters, Black Canary and Black Siren. Who would you choose?
Probably Black Siren. She's like, I got this. And that's how Katie Cassidy feels. She's got this.
I like that.
The Inside of You podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
They're gross, they're offensive, and kids on the road see them.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
F me running. All right. Day one of a traditional 5-day work week around here. I don't know about the rest of you, but that's what we're looking at. Thanks for listening to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Hey, check this out. Word is, if you listen to this here radio show tomorrow, we'll be dumping a major concert announcement on you. We will. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's referred to here as major. So hang on to your ass. That'll be tomorrow morning. What do you know about it, Josh? You're looking at me like you know something about this.
Oh, I have an idea.
Oh, God dang.
I've got a little idea, and if you want to Venmo me, I'd be happy to share that information with anyone who's interested.
You had a look on your face.
Once I find out what it is.
Did he not have a look on his face like he knows the rest of us don't know?
I saw the look.
Yeah, he seems to know something.
They never tell me these things.
Well, they don't want to share it with everybody.
Yeah, I think they intentionally don't tell me.
I think that's pretty much true. Like when we changed the locks, for example. Nobody gave you a heads up.
Venmo, you said out loud. Can I tell you something? Yeah. I heard a shady story over the weekend. Kind of a shady, disturbing story. One of my buddies, he screwed up. He's got a couple of kids. And these kids are, I don't know, early teenagers, right? I don't know anything about this Venmo. But what I was told was he and his wife were looking at their bank account, a printout, what's the word in the profession? Statement, thank you, bank statement. And they saw that one of their kids had Venmo'd some money out from under him.
Really?
$100 here, $50 here, $100 there. And they said, hey, kid, what's going on here? And the kid said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, come on, dude. Just admit it.
And they said, it's right here in the thing. It says, here's me and your mom, right? And here's you. Like, that's how it plays out.
Yep.
You, right here. Here's your name. You took this amount of money from me and your mom on this day. You took this amount. And the kid said, wasn't me.
They're not buying it?
Well, of course not. 3 days later, the kid finally said, okay, it was me.
At least he admitted it.
How in the hell do you deny something like that? It's right there on paper.
Box Tossing Jesus just sent me 10 Venmos.
Oh, you got 10 Venmos?
I had one Venmo, and now I've got 10.
You can bring a couple of your friends.
Is that good?
10 Venmos?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could buy like 3 more Venmos with that.
All right. Oh, man. This is a hip thing to say the last few years. You say, that's a hill I'm willing to die on, or is that really the hill you're willing to die? I get a little tired of it, but anyway, I found something really interesting and funny, to me at least. And I don't really get it, but yet I really enjoyed it, and maybe you can help me out. The topic is embarrassing hills people will die on, blah, blah. This movie's better than that movie, that kind of a thing. Like I said, I'm a little annoyed at this point by the gimmick, but in this article about embarrassing hills people will die on, and here it is. Someone help me out. You're not a real adult until you've had an emotional breakdown while holding a Swiffer.
I have not yet had that.
I don't.
But I've never had a Swiffer.
Yeah, I love how specific it is.
Oh, I've got all their products.
Yeah, I definitely have. Because of like dog hair and stuff like that.
Probably why I find this funny, just because the word Swiffer. I'm a Swiffer fan. I have all their stuff.
I have like some of those Swiffer like the dusters. I've got Swiffer dusters.
Well, you just hold them in your hand?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can attach it to a duster, but I just hold it.
I got everything. I got the dry one. I got the wet one. I got the halfway mark. I got the thing with the long handle, short handle. I got something that
ceiling fans
operates by remote control. Everything. So I don't really get it. What is that a common thing that folks have meltdowns while holding a Swiffer? Just the whole thing is odd and funny to me. I don't really fully understand it. Can you help me out?
I have definitely had one, just because, no offense to Swiffer at all, it's not the best when you have 3 dogs. It kind of just pushes the hair. It makes the hair wet, and then it pushes it in a pile. It doesn't really do what I need it to do. And so I've definitely
I don't think you're following the directions.
Close.
You might not have read the directions. But you've had meltdowns with the Swiffer in hand. Okay.
I actually, I get made fun of for doing this at home. My fiance makes fun of me. I get on my hands and knees and wipe the floors.
Oh, so you don't need to be doing that.
You got my nephew in there. What are you thinking?
Well, I haven't actually. I haven't done it since being pregnant, but I just think It does a better job. It does the best job.
You don't know what you're doing. I will have to come over to your house and show you how to operate all the different Swiffer products. I'm a friggin' pro.
I would love that.
You're doing it all wrong.
It might take you doing my whole entire house for me to really understand how to use it, though, if that's okay.
Well, you're a slow learner, so I'm going to guess that I'm going to have to do it next time.
Yeah, yes.
And then Dana will have to do it the next time before you finally start to get it.
It's going to take a while, you guys.
All right, so that's a hill that someone wants to die on. You're not a real adult until you've had an emotional breakdown while holding a Swiffer. I've never come close to an emotional breakdown while I'm holding a Swiffer. I enjoy it. So, biggest meltdown you ever had? Go.
Oh, I just...
Biggest meltdown. As a child and as an adult, biggest meltdown, and feel free to text us, 651-989-9393. Biggest meltdown you ever had as a child or an adult, or both, whatever you got.
I can't think of the all-time greatest one because I melt down pretty easily.
So did I when I was younger.
It's 0 to 100 pretty fast over very small inconveniences. But this last week, I was cooking and I made some type of delicious sauce, and I put it in a Tupperware container. I didn't put the lid on because I was going to use it within like 30 minutes, but I was going to throw it in the fridge so it could cool down a little bit.
Sure.
And I don't know what happened. I hit the wrong thing in the fridge, and then it got all over the inside of the fridge.
Spilled.
It's like I chucked this thing across my kitchen.
Yeah.
It was all over the cupboards, the floor, just everywhere. And
delicious sauce. You knocked it into oblivion, and it's everywhere.
I went nuclear. And my fiance comes in. He's like, you got to slow down. Like, it's okay. This isn't a big deal. And I'm like, yes, it is. I'm basically crying.
I would freak out, too. I would freak out, too. Josh, you're probably the type of guy that's maybe never had a really ridiculous, over-the-top childhood or adult-style meltdown.
I'm trying to come up with one. I mentioned before I got frustrated and threw a domino once.
Yeah, you threw a domino.
Yeah,
I mean, there are people who have done thousands of dollars of damage to their own home in a meltdown. You threw a domino.
I've never really had a meltdown.
No, I can believe it. I can believe it. When I was a kid, oh, God.
Jeez, it got ugly there.
You could set your friggin' watch to it. I ran so hot. I still run hot, but not like that. My wife gets on my case because I am very critical of myself when I make little silly mistakes like what Ashley mentioned, tipping over a bucket of sauce. I would be very critical of myself. Stupid son of a... That kind of thing. My wife's trying to get me to cut down on that.
It's a hard time. It's really hard stopping that short fuse. And I never think of, I should work on that until right after it happens. And I'm like, I did it again, didn't I?
Well, yesterday...
does this count when I don't know if this is... Maybe you could count this as a meltdown, but I yelled at those guys from New York after we spent a week with them and talking about how much better New York is than everyone.
No, that wasn't a meltdown. See, that was a reaction. Usually a meltdown, and the kind I'm thinking...
And I didn't really freak out. I pretty much just...
You hollered.
Yeah, I raised my voice. That was really about it. But maybe, I don't know, maybe you count that, I guess.
I don't count it.
And that was after a week of abuse from
that was a
these guys.
reaction. You raised your voice. To me, the kind of meltdown I'm thinking of, adult-style temper tantrum or childhood temper tantrum, it's usually something self-imposed. That's not the word impose. You caused it yourself. It's something, you're mad at yourself for something, is what I'm picturing. But it could be...
I saw you get very mad at a pickleball net. That was kind of funny.
Well, that was nothing. That was nothing. Yeah.
You hated that net.
At any rate, when I was a kid, I had them all the time.
There was a video game shop in Eagan growing up off Yankee Doodle, Josh, called Game Busters. And I think my temper tantrums breaking controllers single-handedly kept them in business for a good stretch of years there in the mid-90s.
You're lucky your folks would keep buying you those.
Oh, it was all me. I'd ride my bike and I'd go buy a new controller.
You would freak out a lot?
Yeah, video games for sure.
Video games.
That reminds me, Dana, of I was playing Nintendogs on my Nintendo
What's
DS.
that?
It's you basically take care of these virtual dogs.
It's like a Tamagotchi, just a little bit more sophisticated.
Yeah, it's very adorable, and you can enter your dogs into these agility competitions. And my dog wasn't performing and I bit my DS. I sunk my teeth into the screen of my Nintendo DS because of how angry I was.
You were going to eat it. You were so mad.
And I was so angry afterwards because I now it's there forever. It still worked, thankfully, but.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Nintendo DS is like a fancier Game Boy that came out a number of years later.
As an adult, I'm trying to think of my worst adult meltdown. Unfortunately, there have been many.
For adult?
For adult.
Yeah, for adult, for me, it's all sports related. Watching sports, I just can't handle myself sometimes.
I did flip out and break a dude's arm playing high school hockey.
Carpentry Jesus said he had a 10-year-old temper tantrum at Disney World because the Aerosmith roller coaster was closed for me. And he said, it was my mid-30s.
Oh.
My ex-mother-in-law still teases me about it. I'll tell you what.
So he was just son of a bitch, like that kind
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know there was one in Disney World, but I went to the one in Disneyland. That is an awesome roller coaster.
What they call like the Rock and Roller Coaster or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, it's the Aerosmith-themed one. At least it was back then.
Yeah. I refused to go on it because it was Aerosmith.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You should go.
I'm not going to go.
You don't want to go?
I do not want to go anywhere near an Aerosmith amusement park ride.
What's the worst band that you would still go on that amusement park ride? What's somebody where it's like, God, I don't like that band, but I'll still go?
That's a good question. I have to think about that. Okay. The worst band, but I would still go on their
Aerosmith is bad enough to you.
I won't go on their ride. God dang.
I know you don't like Steve Miller. What if it was Steve Miller themed?
I'm not going on the Steve Miller. No, I'm not going on that one either because they're probably going to play a couple of his songs.
Yeah, that's what they do.
And I'd vomit.
But they had a whole backstory to the Aerosmith one. I don't know if you want me to spoil it.
No, I don't care to hear it.
You're not interested?
I love you, but I don't care to hear the backstory on the stupid Aerosmith roller coaster ride.
That added to it for me.
As an adult, as far as meltdowns go, we got to take a break here in a minute. There are a couple of the ones that stand out for me. There are a couple of times where I wanted to fight a friend of mine. Two separate friends of mine. I regret. I shouldn't have gotten that hot. As a child, I had a lot of them also, but the one that I remember very distinctly, my brother and sister pissed me off so bad one day. I'm going to take a guess we were like 10. We were down in the basement. They pissed me off. I don't remember what it was. I just turned into this tornado of rage, just breaking everything I could get my hands on and screaming. My goal was to scream myself unconscious, I think. That's how friggin' furious I was. And I screamed and I screamed and I screamed and yelled and broke things and kept 5 minutes go by probably. And when I'm done, I hear a voice from upstairs go, "Hello?" What I did not realize when I was having my meltdown, my brother and sister just smooth left the house. And in that window of time, one of our neighbors had come over and walked into the house. So this young gal, like probably only 14 or something at the time, she heard this coming from the basement, and God knows what she thought. And she just says, "Hello?" And now I'm forced to say, yeah? I mean, come on. She must have, and we remained, of course, we were neighbors until I got out of high school, and I just wonder what she must have thought of me.
She was scared of you.
She was probably terrified after what she...
Yeah.
Okay,
here's a good one to end with.
Yeah.
This I don't have a name, but it's a 715er. I couldn't get new windshield wipers on, so I freaked out. I threw one as far as I could, and when it slid out of my hand, the metal sliced 3 fingers so bad I had to go to the ER.
Oh. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's an adult temper tantrum meltdown.
You were trying to, lump your little... You were doing the right thing all those years ago when you hollered at that douchebag from New York and raised your voice a little bit. I don't think you can count that, Josh, because that's what that man just described in that text message. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, why won't this thing go on?
You're so mad at yourself.
It should be easy.
You're so frustrated by something. You end up slicing We got to get going again. I made a statement a few minutes ago, and I may have inadvertently lumped myself into a certain group of people. I made a statement earlier where I said, I love Swiffers. They got a dry mop. They got a wet mop version. They got this, that. The Swiffer, right? Everyone's familiar with that product.
Of course.
Yeah. I push one of those sumbitches around the house as often as I can. A listener texted in to say, I like Swiffers. How does that make me a Swiftie?
Yeah, you're a Swiftie.
Am I cool?
100%.
Am I fine being a Swiftie?
Yeah, usually you tell people you're a Swiftie. They know exactly what you're talking about.
They're a good crowd?
Heck yeah.
I'm such a sucker for this, but you know that already. I love when an adult comes completely uncorked and has a meltdown temper tantrum.
There's no
Love
shortage of that on the internet, that's for sure. You can catch that quite a bit now.
Oh, yeah?
That's what you're into.
Where do I go to see that on the internet?
Just the internet.
Oh, anywhere's on the internet.
Just Google the internet and you'll find it.
I love watching a grown person just lose their cool and melt down. So we were talking about your biggest meltdowns. Got some text messages. Oh, we're at 651-989-9393. Your biggest meltdown. Here's a listener who says, well, this sounds like a high-pressure deal. I was in culinary school, they say.
That's super cool.
Is that cool?
Yeah, I think.
I can imagine it'd be stressful, yeah.
All the TV shows sure make it look that way.
Oh, yeah? I don't watch a lot of culinary television programming. But anyway, this individual was in a culinary school. They had some kind of a big test. They give you like one knife and a certain sauce, and you got an appetizer, dessert, some kind of a test. And this individual said, I thought I had completely failed. I had burned my appetizer. The knife kind of sucked. I thought my sauce sucked, for my entree, that kind of a thing. I went outside the school and I started screaming and crying. Come to find out, I actually had received the best score they had given in 10 years.
Wow.
I may have said some things.
Right. There he or she is outside the school, just,
Try to walk that one back a bit.
Guy trying to fix a car. Ooh, I bet a lot of us have had meltdowns trying to fix that motor vehicle. Oh, God. Yeah, I know I have. Guy's trying to fix a car. This one piece wasn't lining up. Kept popping out of place. So he grabbed the hammer and started beating the hell out of the engine block.
Oh, no.
And broke in one of the headlights.
Oh.
No.
You got to get it out of your system sometimes.
One of those instant regrets. You're like, if I could only go back in time about 10 seconds and not have done that.
There's a couple related to that. Here's a car one that's related to that last story. Poopykin Jesus said one time her boyfriend locked his keys in the car, so he's using a metal hanger to try and get the door unlocked.
Yeah.
Wasn't working, so 5 minutes of trying, he got so frustrated, he threw the hanger at the car and it shattered the back windshield. Now, who would predict that?
Yeah,
I would never think you could do something like that. The other part of that last text was the hammer. Here's a hammer story. Owner of the second best Springer Spaniel in the world, Jesus, was hanging siding 30 feet in the air, smashed his thumb with the hammer. Oh, I bet that hurt. Turned around, threw his hammer as far as humanly possible, then he had to spend the next 30 minutes looking for it in the woods, completely pissed off at myself.
I thought he was going to say he heard a thud and then a child crying or something.
That's what I thought it was going to be, too.
Oh, look at this. You see my thumb right here, Josh?
I do.
I stabbed myself in the thumb yesterday with a drill.
Oh,
but I kept it together.
I've had that happen.
I kept it together. Here's a listener who stopped off to get himself a pizza pie to take home. Right as he was getting close to his house, he put the car in park, I guess, a little too quick, and the pizza slid off the seat.
Oh, no. That sucks.
I got so mad, I jumped out of the car, whipped the door open, I grabbed the pizza and threw it across the yard. And I yelled at the pizza.
It wasn't the pizza's fault.
It's probably still salvageable.
This person says I don't know if they want me to say their name or not. I'm a 35-year-old welder. I got so upset I broke down and cried at work last week. I just don't want to work here anymore.
Oh.
Sure, I can understand. I've seen that before.
Not everybody has that tornado of rage, spinning and throwing things and cursing. Some folks shut down when they get really, really mad, especially at themselves.
They scare me more.
Oh, sure. It's always the quiet ones,
Definitely.
Isn't it?
Yep.
Here's a listener. I love the way they say this. Bought a house, brand new house, dropped a glass down onto the floor. Had to sit on the floor for 15 minutes before I was able to pick myself up and go get a broom.
Oh, wow.
I just needed to sit there. All they did was drop a glass on the floor. I've been that way.
Yeah, same here.
I don't know what it is. You just you snap.
This person said, just last night, I was putting together a cabinet for my wife. I stripped a bolt, tried to get out of the hole for 30 minutes, then I finally snapped the leg off the cabinet and threw it out the front door.
There's not many things more frustrating than when you strip a bolt.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it is frustrating.
Come on, I can't take it. My biggest meltdown, says a listener, would be a boat motor I bought for a fishing trip. Broke down, left me stranded in the middle of the lake. I grabbed an oar, and I broke it over the top of the outboard, and I said, now, there's a reason not to work. Then there's the guy who spilled a glass of orange juice into his briefcase in front of his kids. I'm still not proud of the tantrum that I had, and it was 20 years ago. And the kids just look at you like, well, what's the problem? They don't understand.
In high school, my friends and I were playing Flappy Bird on our phone, seeing who could get the farthest. I won by 1. My friend leaned over and bit my phone, broke the screen completely, and my mom was not happy.
Wow.
I love that game.
It's all part of life.
Oh, man, this is coming in.
Melting completely down and making a jackhole out of yourself, even if you're all alone. It's part of life. And everyone deserves one or two, I think.
Yeah, you get a free pass.
Everyone
I think,
deserves one or two. All right.
People freak out. It happens.
I don't want anyone to freak out because we're running a little bit late, so we might as well pull the plug. What do you got, Cubby?
Happy birthday to BC, Kim, Jesus, and everyone else. Keep your cool. Keep your cool. We'll be back tomorrow.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.